run by one man, Bernie Ecclestone. He was old school, someone who thought the sport itself was enough, and there was no need for all this modern marketing and social media nonsense. But in 2016, Ecclestone agreed to sell his baby to American group Liberty Media. It cost Liberty Media $4.4 billion, and they quickly got to work. We got an F1 app almost immediately, and teams were allowed to show us more from behind the scenes. One of Liberty's most important deals was with Netflix, which in 2019 brought us Drive to Survive. The effect? An almost 70% rise in viewership for races in the US alone. It's massively benefited Formula One online too, with a rise from 7.8 million followers across its social media platforms in 2016 to around 50 million today. New eyes are on the sport too, with F1's own subscription TV channel, which people can watch anywhere in the world. But the main market they've tapped into is the US. There's now 3 races there a year in Texas, Miami and Las Vegas, and an American-branded team, Cadillac, getting involved in the sport too. More races seems to be the direction of travel. A street circuit in Madrid's being welcomed onto the calendar, while conversations around a Grand Prix in Africa have ramped up in the last few years. More big events could be in the offing too, after the massive F1 75 season launch event in London in 2025. 7.5 million people tuned in to watch it live across the social media channels, and that doesn't include the viewing figures for where it was broadcast on TV in certain countries. It seems Liberty will do whatever they can to grow the F1 brand. Their efforts have been worthwhile too, with Forbes valuing the sport at $17.1 billion back in 2023, almost 4 times more than what they bought it for in 2016. Not bad, considering it's seen as a sport where people just drive around in circles.
Good morning, 4 minutes past 6 o'clock, Monday, January the 5th. Whatever you do today, do keep warm. No snow in London, but I think we're amongst the fortunate few. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark's Wheel Sale. It's the UK's biggest used car sale, and it's on now. Check out arnoldclark.com. I'm Jeff Stelling, and Ray Parlour is with me through until 10. Morning, Ray.
How you doing, Jeff? Late substitution, and I'm really surprised. But Ali's missed his show because after that brilliant result for Rangers, Jeff, over the weekend, which Celtic 1-0 up, looked like they were going to go on to get the second goal, and then suddenly, bang, 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 lose 3-1. So real problems up in Scotland for Celtic, but what a result for Rangers.
I thought the Coisty would be on his hands and knees, crawling here.
He would have done.
Just to gloat, you know.
Exactly. And I don't know where Ali is today, but yeah, he's a cold one today. Definitely cold.
Oh, yeah, it certainly is, mate. You know, and sometimes when I clambered out of bed this morning at 4:30, and you're heading over there, you think, oh, God, is this the worst job? And then...
At 10 o'clock, you're on.
No, but then you remember that poor so-and-so who had to interview Pep Guardiola when they've conceded in the last minute at home to Chelsea, and you think, that's a much worse job.
Absolutely.
I mean, who would want to have to
You don't want to be asking those sort of questions after that.
It doesn't make life easy for them, does he?
You could see the frustration with Pep at the end of the final whistle. You know, we should see that game out, and they should have done, really. I mean, that would have been a big 3 points for them. But done my team a favour.
What a week for your lot, though. I mean,
it was
a big win at Bournemouth, but then for City to fail to win at Sunderland and then fail to win a home game against Chelsea. I mean, goodness me.
I'm still not going to get carried away, Jeff. I mean, they've got a lovely little gap now, 6 points, but that could be turned around very, very quickly. I'll go back to 98 when I was playing, and we was 12 points behind Manchester United. Games in hand, a couple of games in hand, but we managed to turn that around. So I guess it can be done. But at the moment, Arsenal going well. Another massive game at Thursday against Liverpool at home. I know Liverpool, they'd be disappointed, conceding that last
They didn't
minute
deserve
goal.
to win the game, though.
No, they didn't. I think
really
Fulham done well enough to at least get a draw. But again, when Liverpool come to town, they really, there's a little bit of rivalry between Arsenal and Liverpool anyway. So that should be a cracking game. But again, so much football. I can't get my head around all the football. It's unbelievable. You're thinking, that was brilliant over the last few days. Then we've got today off, and bang, West Ham v Nottingham Forest, which is a massive game tomorrow. A huge game for both sides. And if West Ham lose that one, it's looking really bad for the Hammers.
It is my only issue. I just think 4 games, 2 o'clock on Sunday, for example. I mean, what do you watch? What do you watch? You can't watch them all. It's impossible, you know?
Yeah.
So you end up flicking between them, and then you miss a goal, so you flick back to the game where there's just been a goal.
You miss another one.
No,
it's not ideal, but that's the TV. That's TV for you.
With the Arsenal, I mean, they weren't the best at Bournemouth, but that didn't matter. And Declan Rice has rightly come in for a lot of praise. But what I think is one of the biggest things for Arsenal at the moment is the re-emergence of Martin Odegaard.
Definitely. The second half against Aston Villa, I go back to that game at the Emirates, and I thought he was excellent. He was always on the ball. He put that little ball through Zubimendi to score. And when he's on his game, he always wants the ball. He's always in positions to receive the ball in tight areas. He can get himself out of a tight area as well. He's got such a good football mind. And, that little... To be fair, Gyökeres done really well for the second goal because he took 4 defenders away. That gave that little space on the edge of the box, and that's where Declan Rice moved into it. But Odegaard saw that little pass, and it's just the weight of the pass as well, Jeff, because he knows now Rice can hit it first time. If you hit it a little bit harder, you might have to have a touch, and then suddenly you might lose the opportunity. So all them little details, that's why you score goals and good goals. And Declan Rice stepped up, scored 2 good goals. But Odegaard's such an important player as well. I know people said about skipper, Declan Rice should be skipper this, but he does so much behind the scenes as well, training-wise and the youngsters. So I think he's a perfect candidate at the moment, and he's got to keep stepping up. He's got to keep playing well because he's got people. Eze's not even featured.
I know.
The
bench, the last 3 games didn't need to bring off the bench. It
just showed you.
That was a big. What a contrast to Man City, who effectively yesterday they only had Doku as an attacking option on the bench. Just before we move on, got a text which was really from Carl in Margate. Morning, Carl. He said, "Morning, guys. Quick question for you. Do you think Reece James is the nicest man in football?" And I assume that comes after he led Callum McFarlane across to the crowd to take his bow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arm around him. Yeah. I thought it was absolutely...
Do you know what? He had a really good game as well. Yeah. I thought he was excellent, Reece James, in midfield.
I think he's one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, no, he was
right up there with the very best.
And it was great for the, to get that result right at the last minute. You could see the jubilation on the Chelsea bench. He can't believe it. Pep Guardiola's face was like a picture, but the Chelsea bench, when Fernandes scored, was unbelievable. He couldn't believe it. He's just come to the Etihad. I think last week it was under 21s, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Coaching under 21s. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
Well, it wasn't just the Chelsea bench. You couldn't believe what they'd seen when Enzo Fernandez
jumps up
in
as
the
well.
94th minute. Yeah. Needless to say, Pep was unhappy with how his side conceded.
Listen, everybody has that. I know that. I have another opinion. Of course, when they could not play in the way they played in the half-time because not even past the halfway, and of course they make more aggressive, more, more there, and they play good in the process and in these kind of situations. But the first two action was because we lost 2 balls, easy passes, and they could run. But the rest was really good. And of course, in that position, we have the ball and we control and talent players like we could run. And at the end, we didn't find the last pass and the last moment to finish the game. So that was simple as that.
I mean, I didn't see it coming at half time, to be honest.
No, I thought Man City were very good.
Yeah.
You know, when they played, and just that final pass, maybe, and final delivery at the goal, but wasn't up to standards. But the midfield play was very good. Why they got into positions, and I thought it was only going to be one winner, if I'm being honest, Man City. But sometimes you've got to see games out a little bit better. I mean, Arsenal have done this as well. Sometimes put it in the corner, push up as a team, and get a throw in and waste another minute, and then kick it out again, waste another minute, and that's how you got to win games. Yeah. And that's why they'd be disappointed, Man City, because they come so close.
They're too dependent on Haaland. Because when Haaland look, he hasn't scored in his last 3. He scored 5 in his last 9 league games.
Well, when he hit the post, though, that was...
Yeah, but I just think... If you look at the Arsenal goal scorers recently, against Bournemouth, 2 for Rice, 1 for Gabriel. Against Villa, 1 for Zubimendi, 1 for Trossard, 1 for Gabriel Jesus. Against Brighton, Martin Odegaard, 6 different scorers in 3 games.
It's a bonus.
Comes from everywhere. Yeah. Whereas with City, they are pretty... Phil Foden's some. But apart from that, they're so reliant on the big fella.
Good point, really. I mean, but he does score goals for fun. We all know that, Haaland. But if he does have a little barren spell, then you do need other players to step up and score goals. But Arsenal in recent weeks, all the eyes have been on Gyökeres. Can he get that goal? Can he score? Can he do this? But they're still winning games of football with other people scoring. So, I think Arteta's doing the right thing with him, because you've got to protect your players and you've got to say, look, he's doing everything for the club at the moment. All he needs is a goal, which he does. But it is a bit of a worry that he's not scoring.
I just mentioned this once because we won't have time later on. But watching that Bournemouth-Arsenal game, what was going on? And I mention this because I've got a text from Chris from Bournemouth who says Arsenal are always going to win against teams like Bournemouth, especially when the referee's wearing an Arsenal shirt. Small exaggeration. Chris is from Bournemouth. What was going on when Bournemouth are about to put the ball back into the box and the referee blows the final whistle? I mean, that doesn't happen ever. And Arsenal have been taking an eternity, as was their right, an eternity over every set play, every throw-in, every free kick.
I totally agree.
I've never seen the whistle blow in that situation.
I can see why everybody was crowding the ref at the end, saying, well, wait a minute, let us put the ball in the box once more. Yeah. We might have one more opportunity. And if we do miss a target, goes out for the goal kick, then you blow up.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree. Exactly. I totally agree. He should have carried on, and they should have at least had one more opportunity.
Yeah. And now what's this day 2 of a test match, and it's not almost over yet. It's been a good day so far down under for Joe Root, but not a great day for England overall. Let's find out what's been happening with talkSPORT's John Norman. Morning, John.
Yeah, good morning to you, Jeff. Maybe if it hadn't rained yesterday, it would be over by now, but I don't think that the groundsman would have been allowed to have left at the SCG alive if another 2-day test match had been served up. But as it is, this is it's an interesting test, but let's not make things up here. I mean, England went 3-0 down, and since then the intensity has kind of deserted the series. 129 for 1 Australia after England were bowled out for 384 just before the tea break. Joe Root, brilliant from him again. 160, his second century in the series, and if not for that knock, I don't know where England would be. As it is, Australia batted really well themselves, minus Labuschagne under a lot of pressure. He's 40 not out, and Travis Head has just gone past 500 runs for the series. He's 64 and he's going at exactly a run a ball. The 1 wicket to fall, that of Jake Weatherald, once again LBW to a full delivery. He's probably got 1 innings to save his test career. But England have just bowled too short, too wide, and they've just been so horribly inconsistent. You can't really blame Matthew Potts. He's just been sitting on his backside for the last 6 weeks. His 6 overs have gone for 47. Cast has once again been all over the pitch. Josh Tongue's been brought back into the attack, but I'm not sure how much cricket we're going to get because it is dark in Sydney, and we might see an early end again today. With Australia trailing by 255 runs, they're 129 for 1.
John, thanks very much indeed. What a series Travers Head has had.
Unbelievable.
Very quick text. It comes from a regular of ours, Tony the Welk Man, on a cold Bognor beach. He says, Happy New Year, Jeff and Ray. Still an optimistic hammer. Haven't heard the fat lady sing yet or clear her throat. Tony, that cold weather is affecting your ears. Because she's singing, and she is singing loud and clear. Coming up, we turn our attention to the back pages and whether Ruben Amorim's future at United is genuinely in the balance. After the rant that followed the Leeds game, that's next. Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. Andy has said, when the time is up, the time is up, no matter where the ball is on the pitch. It's the rule. Andy, you've clearly never watched the Premier League. Clearly never, because it doesn't happen, ever, that when a team is in that situation, the referee blows the full time, whether the time is up or not. So I think you're wrong, pal. But thanks for the text. If I was Cara, I'd be saying no disrespect. Okay, let's take a look at today's back pages. talkSPORT's Olivia Bazaglo is with us. Hey, morning, Olivia.
Morning.
Olivia.
How are we?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
You got a nice smile on your face today.
Yeah,
Made me very happy. Yes,
do you know what, Ray? You're welcome. Once I'd realised after the celebrations of that goal going in the 94th minute, once I sort of took a step back and realised the implications, I went, God, why did we do that? As you can imagine, a lot of the back pages are dominated by Ruben Amorim. We'll get onto that in just a second. But Liam Rosenior flies into London for Chelsea talks. That's back page of the Times. The same as the Daily Mail. Rosenior set for a Chelsea as Fernandes foils City. And the back page of the Sun, Liam flies in for the Blues job. But we will focus on Chelsea a little bit later on. But for now, we are going to focus on Manchester United. But just first of all, on the back page of the Sun, Littler holds all the cards. Luke Littler will splash some of his £1 million on Ali Pally winnings on football stickers.
Well, he's only 18.
I know, you forget, don't you, that actually collecting football stickers is probably...
you still might like doing that.
What if you won £1 million today,
18?
Ray? No. If you won £1 million today, what would you spend it on? Don't say something sensible.
I wouldn't spend it. You don't have to spend it, do you?
If you had to.
Well, I would probably go on holiday.
Yeah, go on a nice holiday.
Lovely, the best holiday you can have.
Yeah.
Good chat with your mates.
Football stickers. Football cards that come in thing in the States.
Oh, they're massive.
Sports cards with basketball in particular, baseball, and they're massive.
Yeah, he says he might, on stickers, on cards.
Yeah.
His influence of Angry Ginge.
But he's so good, isn't he? I mean, I didn't expect. I know I expected him to win, but not that easy.
I think everyone. I think a lot of people expect 7-1 in a final, especially after losing the first set as well, is just remarkable.
And he's a good player, the other guy, the Dutchman, Van der Beek. Yeah, he's really...
I think those two will be the two that go at it.
Yeah.
But can anyone get close to Luke Littler? I don't know.
Don't know.
Right, let's move on, shall we, to Ruben Amorim. On the back page of the Times, Amorim rant exposes rift with United. Back page of the Mail, Amorim gambles with his future in astonishing rant at United bosses. And the back page of the Sun, Amorim attack on United's Chiefs. talkSPORT does understand that Ruben Amorim's future is in the balance after his explosive rant. It feels like there's a fractured relationship with the director of football. Jason Wilcox is making his long-term position uncertain. It's giving me Enzo Maresca vibes, Ray, I can't lie. Coming out and saying what he did after Everton, 2 weeks later he's gone. Is this just the beginning of the end for Ruben Amorim now?
Well, he must know what his position was when he went to Man United, Jeff, no? Is he going to be manager? Is he coach?
Well, he said the agreement clearly was he was the manager.
Right, so the manager would have a lot more say.
In charge of everything.
Yeah.
But he is technically the head coach.
Yeah, and that's why he signed the contract. So really... I should imagine he's in the right a little bit more, no?
I think, it depends whether there's been some sort of verbal agreement, some sort of verbal understanding that you are going to be responsible for pretty much everything. Now, I was reading, and look, I'm not inside football, so I don't know. Jason Wilcox, obviously director of football, is said to speak to him every day. Now, is that the norm, or could that be construed as interference?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to let the manager have a big say in who you bring in, because he's the one who's going to deal with the players every day in training. He's got to be the ones who have a focus to how they want to play, what sort of system they want to play. He loves a free, doesn't he, at the back? So they need players who can play that system, like Crystal Palace have done. Yeah. I know Crystal Palace have had their injuries and the squad ain't big enough, but he's got players who can play that system. So he's probably saying to Jason Wilcox, we need players, not the ones you're bringing in. We need the players who are going to fit into my system. Yeah. And that might be the down.
Mind you, if Jason Wilcox was responsible for Mbumo coming into the side and Mateus Cunha, then he's done pretty well there, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I think that whatever the Manchester United hierarchy, if they sit down and think about things, have a look at the table. If you said to them at the start of the season, 15th last season, said to them at the start of the season, you're just outside the Champions League places right now. You're sitting 6th at the moment. You're You've got a lorry load of teenagers on the bench. You've got centre-halves who are 19 and 20. You haven't got Mount. You haven't got Maguire. You haven't got Mbeumo. You haven't got Ahmad. You haven't got Kobe Menu. You haven't got De Ligt. Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing a good job.
I think it's just probably... when you look at the wider, and since he's been at Manchester United, I think Man United fans will agree it probably hasn't been good enough, especially if you take last season into consideration. I mean,
but he's taking over somebody else's squad.
Yeah, 100%.
And clearly weren't good enough anyway.
Yeah. And the signings that they have made, I think they've been pretty good, like you say, those two. It's 1 win in 5. I think it's just the manner of teams they've played. Wolves at home should have won that game. Bournemouth...
I think it's a substitution sometimes as well, isn't it? Sometimes when they want to go for another goal, they change it and put a centre-half on, or they change a defence, or whatever.
It just takes off a centre-back for a centre-back when you need a goal.
And you're playing at Old Trafford.
Yeah, so at home to...
You've got to try and win that game somehow. And they've had so many draws in the recent weeks, haven't they?
Yeah.
If they can turn those draws into wins, they would have been right up there.
100%.
All for a verge.
For instance, after the weekend, there's no disgrace in going to Leeds.
That's a really tough game.
Chelsea went there and got battered, Yeah.
Liverpool drew as well.
Yes,
Every team's gone there and struggled, or a lot of teams have gone there and struggled.
But he's clearly known what impact his statement would have. He's clearly known.
He's more or less said, sack me. You've got to sack me. I'm not going to walk away.
Is that what Maresca did?
I've got 18 months. Sack me or back me,
exactly.
That's what he's saying.
He's got 18 months left on his contract. Look, it's up to you. If you don't want me to do my job, then that's it.
He's basically said he's going to. He's basically said he's going to walk away in 18 months anyway. He's basically said when my contract comes to an end, we're all going to move on. But right now, do you feel like there's a way back, Jeff, after a manager makes a comment like this?
I do, because I think they're in a much better position than they would have been under normal circumstances. And what happens if he leaves? Who are they going to bring in? It's not exactly... a job that, people will be queuing up around the block.
I was going to say it's...
But whether you've got the quality of manager that you want, I think they've brought him in for 3 years. Got to give him a chance. And when he says, by the way, in 18 months he'll be gone, hey, if they're doing brilliantly in the Premier League, doing brilliantly in the Champions League, he won't be going anywhere.
I'd love to hear from Jason Wilcox what he says.
Do you know what I was thinking? We were talking about this earlier, actually, on Early Breakfast. Chelsea fans would love to have heard from the sporting directors about the Enzo Maresca comments. That was never going to happen. But in this situation, you'd love to be... Why can't we hear from the sporting director?
He might say, look, he's our manager. He has a lot of say in what we do.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. For Man United fans, it would be.
Yeah, they've got Burnley coming up as well midweek, so a good opportunity. And like you say, Jeff, they're in and around those Champions League spots, and that's exactly what they'd have been aiming for, I'm sure, this season.
Absolutely. Manchester United fans are realistic. It might take a bit of time to build the club again. And if they got in the top 4, look, I know it's a long way to go yet, but if they did get in the top 4, it's a great season.
Yeah, it's a great season.
Just to... Gary Neville pointed out yesterday that regardless, actually, of what the manager coach wants, there actually isn't any money at Manchester United, which is staggering when you consider the size of the club. But he said basically they spent their money during the course of the summer, and there isn't any more at the moment.
And Ruben Amorim did come out, and I think, was that part of the reason maybe he's come out with this choice of words now when he got told that he wouldn't have any money to spend in January. I think
probably that's the reason, probably.
Yeah, and
I should imagine.
Do you understand that frustration?
Well, every manager wants better players and more players to save their jobs, don't they? Because you see injuries yesterday. Man City two injured, coming off. So I don't know how bad they've done their injuries, but that's a blow.
City will go and spend that money in January, won't they?
Semenyo is probably the one who'll be going, but now they might look at defensive unit now because I don't know how bad the injuries are, but
Guardiola's didn't look great.
But every team's getting injuries, aren't they? You can't, it's so many games that there's always going to be injuries in any squads. Yeah. Not just like Arsenal or Liverpool or Man United. It's across the board. Yeah. People getting injured.
Yeah. And as you rightly say, look, we've got another raft of Premier League fixtures midweek. There is no time for recovery.
And then we got the big semi-final, Chelsea-Arsenal.
Oh, we've helped you out once, Ray. I want to do it again.
Brilliant, Olivia. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up, we turn our attention to West Ham and ask the question, do they need to make a change at manager level now before it's too late? We'll discuss that next.
Amen Corner, perhaps the most feared run of holes in golf. Each year it claims the tournament hopes of many, with balls hitting bunkers and water traps aplenty. But why is it so fearsome, and where did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
Good morning, it's 6:35. It is a very cold Monday, January the 5th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me through until 10 o'clock. Now, we're asking the question, how do you fix a problem like West Ham? Well, it's a simple question to ask, isn't it? And it's a bloomin' hard one to answer. This weekend, they had a glorious chance, didn't they, to close the gap on the sides above them, but they lost 3-0 to a Wolves team who hadn't won in the Premier League all season. And they have Forest coming up next. It's live on talkSPORT, of course. They are making moves in the transfer window already. But the big question has to be around Nuno at the moment, Ray. Look, it looks like the club are backing him. 4 points from the last 27. Does it give you the impression that West Ham's hierarchy have almost accepted their fate?
Well, they can't accept their fate. I mean, there's still lots of points to play for, Jeff, and they can get in a little run and get the right players in, because it'd be a disaster for West Ham if they did go down. Everybody's not guaranteed to stay in the Premier League. We all know that, but with the squad and the stadium itself, I've heard if they do go down, it would cost them less, the stadium. I think it goes down there. I think it goes down a few million. So the owners will be happy with that. But absolute disaster this weekend. I mean, I watched the game and that first half, it just wasn't good enough. I mean, you're going away from home. Wolves have had that little bit of a spurt, haven't they? They had that good draw against Manchester United at Old Trafford. So I put it down as a draw. I thought that Wolves might show a little bit more, but I didn't have it as a 3-0 win. And that first half performance, second half, West Ham improved, but you're 3-0 down. You know, it's too late. You can't improve when it's too late. You've got to start the game well and set your stall out and be hard to beat and maybe nick it on the break or nick the first goal, and that deflates the crowd, deflates the Wolves players. But it's the other way around. They more or less give Wolves opportunities to really get the crowd going. And that's the worst thing you can ever do when you're playing away from home. So I think this game tomorrow night is really key. A lot of people saying, well, do we get rid of the manager? It's not always the manager. Your players have got to look at themselves as well. I mean, the players, you're playing for West Ham Football Club. Jarrod Bowen, we know he's West Ham through and through now. He's the one who keeps going and whatever. But the other players have really got to step up now. Really have.
And that's the worrying, and I'm certainly not trying to talk Nuno out of a job. But after that, it was the manner of the defeat at Wolves. And afterwards, he called it the lowest point, an embarrassment. And then he said, the lack of effort, discipline, organisation and responsibility. Now, it's that first phrase, the lack of effort.
There's no excuse in that.
Yeah, but I hate the phrase, a player's not playing for the manager. But when he comes out and says the lack of effort they're putting in, it's got to suggest that, doesn't it?
I sometimes, if you don't get on with the manager, though, you play for yourself, surely, no? You play for the fans.
For yourself, play for the fans.
You play for
your club.
You play for, but it plays for your home pride. You're going out in that football field. I'm looking at someone I'm marking or I'm playing against. I'm going to get the better of you today, and that's in your head. Doesn't matter about the manager. You don't like the manager or not, but you're playing for your own future, really. So I don't always blame the manager for that. I'd look at the players then and say, look, wait a minute. You put that West Ham shirt, you go out, you've got to run through a brick wall. You can have a bad game. There's no doubt about that. Everybody has bad games, but the effort, you see a bit of effort, you get away with it. West Ham fans, look, they've got loads around where I live, Jeff, and they want to see the desire. They want to see, and things will go against West Ham, and the fans will say, look, at least he had a go, at least he tried, but there's no excuse whatsoever for players to go out and not give 100%. And Wolves are more or less down, we thought. Well, they probably will still go down, but they're showing a bit of effort. Yeah. Their players were superb on Saturday.
Bit of desire.
They was winning that second ball. The second ball is the most important things in football. And get a stamp on your teammate and say, right, let's win that ball. And the first goal obviously gives them more confidence and belief. And then West Ham sort of just give up more or less. And I don't know what he said half time. They did improve second half, but it's too late. And this game tomorrow night is key now. If Forest can get a result and win, which they're capable of doing, then I know they played poor against. They played really poor against Villa in that first half, but it was a game plan which Sean Dyche had. But if they win somehow at the London Stadium, it's big trouble for West Ham.
But I look at, obviously the managers have been through the door recently.
Do you go for experience now, Jeff? Would you say?
Well, I don't know. I was going to say, does it matter? Lopetegui couldn't succeed there. Potter couldn't succeed. Nuno's got the worst points per game return of any West Ham manager in history. But could anybody do any better with that squad?
I thought it was a great appointment when they first got him, and because we know what happened at Forest, and what he did at Forest was unbelievable to get him into Europe, and with a style of play, everybody knew their jobs as a team, played on the break, got the goals, got the great results they needed. So I thought it was a good appointment, but it looks like now, maybe it is. You can't always look at the manager. Sometimes you've got to look at the club and the whole running of the club. And I'm sure West Ham fans will come in and tell us, because they go and watch it week in, week out, and they deserve better probably, because when it was at Upton Park, they got promised this, promised that, to go to this new stadium. We're going to push this club. And it is a sleeping giant. I don't care what you say. The crowd they've got, the away support, they would have packed to the Wolves end out at the weekend, the away end. And they will do every week, because that's what sort of loyal supporters they are. But they need a bit more from the team. They need a bit more from the club, probably, to say, look, we want to be challenging. You got people like, I know Bournemouth have struggled a bit lately, but Bournemouth, their tendencies are 12,000 every game, and they compete. Yeah, they get players in. They're using the top half, and that's where West Ham have got to be, surely.
Yeah, I mean, they've signed Pablo. 22 million pounds, 22-year-old from Portugal, got 10 goals in Portugal this season. Very inexperienced, but hey, they signed Nicholas Fulkrug, who was very experienced. That didn't work out. They're linked with Tati Castellanos. Lazio cost them 25 million pounds. But my question is, who's signing the players? Because they bear a huge responsibility.
Recruitment is so important in any sport. Getting the right players in, whether it's rugby, football, whatever. I mean, you've got to get the players in a little bit like Brentford have done. They've lost all their players. They've lost their manager, but they seem to have done the recruitment right and looked into it and said, right, if we do lose him, there's a couple of options we can go for. Thiago, as we mentioned, got a hat-trick yesterday. Great signing for Brentford's point of view. Brighton have always been that sort of team as well, where they've lost so many stars over the years, but they seem to always bring in little gems of players and make them better. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, recruitment is so important. And I don't know who does the recruitment. I know Mark Noble's down there, but I don't think he's involved in that. Maybe bring Mark in. He might get the players who respect him to have that little bit more energy or a little bit more commitment because he's West Ham through and through. I don't know. I really don't know the answer for West Ham. But this game tomorrow night, I mean, the fans have got to... They're going to turn up at London Stadium, but they've got to get behind the team. They can't sort of make it into a demonstration and start not getting behind the players because the players might suffer there and then they might lose the game. So they've got to get behind the players. But there's a real problem at West Ham at the moment.
Do you think if they lose that game, they sack Nuno?
I think they've got to do something. Yeah, I don't think he lasts. I think this is the last game he's got.
Last chance.
Yes, I do. I mean, I don't know what you do. You got to do something about what's going wrong. And I don't know what the dressing room situation is with the players and the manager and all that sort of stuff. But there's something gone wrong because, as I said before, and he's more or less said, effort. In the press conference, he's more or less having a go at the players now. Yeah. So once you get that sort of little bit of friction between both, whether it works or not is another matter. But I always say the players should have that little bit of pride and a little bit of self-discipline to say, look, I'm playing for the fans. We've travelled up from London today. There's 3,000 fans over in that corner. Let's have a go for them. But some players don't, and that's and you lose games of football. Yeah. Simple as that.
You mentioned Wolves, Ray. I was going to finish on this, by the way. Wolves 12 points off safety now, 4 points in the last 2 games. Could they potentially produce the greatest escape in Premier League history? 18 games left. If they win 9 of them, that would take them on to... It's a lot. I know.
He would get a statue outside.
Oh, yeah. But that would give them 33 points. So you pick up a couple of other draws. Now, if you look at someone like Brentford, they've won 9 of their first 20 games. Wolves would need to win 9 out of 18. I know it's ridiculous. I know it is. But 2014, 2015, Leicester won 7 of their last 9 games to stay in the Premier League.
What did third from bottom get last year, Jeff? Was it about 29?
Yeah, it was very low last year. I think it was even less than that. I think it'll be higher this season. Yes. But generally speaking, people say 40. It's never 40.
No, 35, 34, 35.
35, 36, I think, might be, would be the greatest escape of all time, wouldn't it?
It certainly would.
Yeah. Right, there's been a wicket on day 2 of the 5th test at the Ashes. Let's head to John Norman.
It's Stokes who's struck Labuschagne. Edging to Ghali, where Bethel took a smart catch, 2 shy of 50. They're going on to a little bit of a war of words a couple of overs ago, possibly. That's just got into the batter's mind. Stokes, with minimal celebration, just gave him a steely stare. Yeah, that's what England needed. Australia, though, I mean, they've raced away in this evening's session. 163 for 2, so trailed by just 221. Well, that's still a decent whack, I suppose, after England were bowled out for 384. 160 for Joe Root. He's the second highest run scorer in the series. The highest run scorer, Travis Head. He's still there, 89 not out. He's gone past 500 runs for the series. So as we approach the end of day 2, there's a bit of rain in the air, it's gloomy. Can England just prize out one more? We shall see. 163 for 2. Labuschagne gone for 48.
Thanks very much indeed, John. A couple of quick texts. Dan, the Spurs fan, you're talking about Nuno's job on the line. How about looking at Thomas Frank at Tottenham? His job must be seriously under threat. Are Tottenham in the relegation places? I don't think there's any comparison between Thomas Frank and Nuno. No. Lee, the Hearts fan, says, good morning. I understand the importance of the Glasgow derby. What's Hearts' chances of winning the league? Well, every chance, you'd have to say at the moment, Lee, with Rangers and Celtic.
Would Rangers be more favourites than Celtic now? They're on the same points now, aren't they?
I would imagine so, yes. Same sort of points. Mind you, they're both only 2 points ahead of Motherwell. A little text here about, we talked about the Bournemouth-Arsenal game. What happened in the Bournemouth-Arsenal game? here made me think of the referee Clive Thomas in the 1978 World Cup. Brazil won, Sweden won. He blew for full time just as the Brazilians were taking a corner kick.
I thought it was just a penalty.
No, they were taking a corner kick, and Zico scored from it. And because he'd blown as they were taking the corner, it didn't count. It was hugely controversial. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
Ruben Amorim all over the back pages again for making comments like this.
If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach.
United fans, let's hear from you. Do you have some sympathy with Ruben Amorim? Or do you think results over the last 14 months while he's been in charge have not been good enough? 03717 223344. That's the number. Let us know what you think. That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Good morning, it's 6:52. It is Monday, January the 5th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, and Ray Parlour. Right, it's time now for this.
26k for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Yeah, talkSPORT kicking off 2026 by giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000.
OK, at 12 p.m. this Friday, we'll be calling one lucky winner with a guaranteed payment made that day. Yep. One of you could pocket, listen to this, 26 grand. It's 26k for 2026. Here's how to enter.
Yeah, for your chance to win, text WIN, just that word, W-I-N, to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or you can call 0343 423 9761. Lines closed 12 p.m. Friday, so that's when you will need to answer your phone if it rings. UK residents only, 18 plus. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com/win. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Do it now, and the very best of luck to you. Right, let's turn our attention now to the EFL.
How can you not love the EFL when it throws up moments like this?
Here's Hawk!
Oh, it's come back to Zamora! Kick off again! City fans can't believe it. What a match!
Windass! Quite simply destined to be from Team Windass.
We're in London. Hey, we're in London, aren't we?
Leeds can beat you 4-1. They're a fantastic team. But we had someone in the bushes that day twice this season now.
No sirve para nada.
I didn't know I would have such a reaction.
That ghost didn't head one in on Saturday. We didn't defend properly, you great chicken nuggets.
We hear that Jimmy Glass, the goalkeeper, has scored for Parlour.
You just never know which twist any game is going to turn next.
Must I forever be
Yeah, time to take a quick look at the EFL. We'll just touch on Coventry very briefly. Still lead by 6 points. Lost at Birmingham. Frank will be scratching his head a bit because 2 wins in 8 when they were pretty much invincible. But I guess it's just the sort of run everybody goes through.
Yeah, and this what happens in the Championship. You can come from nowhere and get five wins in a row and be in the playoffs. So that's why it's such a great league. But Frank won't panic. I think he was a little bit upset with some of the referee decisions. I think at the weekend, I heard in his interview, he's saying, "Well, we've got a lot going against us at the moment, which." He's no VAR in obviously the Championship, so once that referee gives that decision, that is it. But look, there's still a long way to go, and Coventry is still in a great position. So they've just got to get back. Just fell off the rails a little bit, but they've just got to get back to winning football matches, and I'm sure they'll be fine. I do still fancy them. I know Ipswich didn't play the weekend, did they? It was called off.
No.
But Ipswich have had a great run in recent weeks. But it's a very competitive league, isn't it? It's good to see my old team, Middlesbrough, getting a good win yesterday.
Borough back up the second. Now, I mean, it's bonkers because they've gone 4 games without a goal, and then they score 4 in 22 minutes. And just Morgan Whittaker got 2 of those. Right, he's got 10. At the start of the season, he was getting all sorts of stick. He's got 10 goals for Middlesbrough this season now. He'd gone 25 games without scoring.
Amazing.
Before his first goal.
It shows you. Sometimes it's just confidence, isn't it? And belief. And once one goes in, you can't stop scoring, sort of thing. So, I was listening to that game a little bit in the first half, and it sounded a really poor game. And then it comes to life second half. They got the first goal, and then Southampton just fell apart, I think. So, but Middlesbrough, that's what they've got to do, keep winning. But there's some cracking results. Preston away, winning 2-0. Bristol City in good form. Stoke going to Norwich. I know Norwich are down the bottom relegation. And Millwall, we've got to mention Millwall. Another brilliant win for Millwall. So Alex Neil,
still up in the playoffs.
They've still got an excellent chance. And Wrexham are with a good run, Jeff. Yeah. Wrexham are really on fire. They're just outside the playoffs now. So they'll be looking at those playoffs and see if they can get into them, and which would be really exciting for the club as well.
Which is, when we talked about Southampton earlier on, I mean, obviously at the start of the season, that would have been the least of their ambitions, playoffs. And the same with Leicester City, by the way. But they appointed Thunder Eckert after a great spell as interim manager. How often does this happen? Now, they're 15th. They've taken 3 points out of 18. They're 8 points of even the playoffs. 13 points off automatic. And from a board point of view, they're sort of in an impossible situation, aren't they? Because they've nailed their colours to the mast, if you like, with Thunder Eckert. And at the moment, it's all gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, it can quickly go wrong. But once you get them bad results and suddenly the morale goes in the team, how do you turn that around? If you're not experienced, then you can keep losing games of football. And it's, as I said before, there's some good players in the Championship. It's a very competitive league. And if you're not at it and you're not putting the performances in, that's when you get beat 4-0.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit worrying for Southampton at the moment. But, as I said before, it's going to be a real battle. Sheffield Wednesday, obviously, we know are down. But other than that, everybody's really having a go. Blackburn got a point yesterday. You look at Norwich.
2-0 down,
Yeah, from Charlton.
Norwich still struggling big time.
Still struggling.
Yeah.
But, it's a brilliant league. It really is.
Top of League One, just mentioned the top three. They all won, Cardiff, Lincoln and Bradford. So no change there. But a lot of games off. And one particular talking point, well, two actually, Hull against Watford was called off 15 minutes before kickoff. Now, Hull have said the referee and both clubs agreed with that decision. Watford have since tweeted that they had not agreed. Now, one thing's for sure is, it may have come down to the stadium safety officer making a decision. The EFL has to look at this. There has to be a proper investigation of just what the circumstances were and why this game was called off and why it was called off so late. I mean, it's 15 minutes.
Well, I think they had 700 Watford fans who travelled down to Hull, which is, it's a pretty long journey. And, they was all waiting for the game. They'd been there probably a couple of hours beforehand and whatever. Suddenly it's off.
Yeah.
And, their day's ruined and they spent a lot of money to get to Hull. And that's where it's all wrong, really. The fans always lose out in the end, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the pitch was like, but they got to decide well before.
I think the pitch was okay. It was the surrounds. I was reading one piece, and I'm not sure if this is accurate or not. It's the area where one assistant would have to run was deemed to be still frozen.
Yeah.
That's
I'm surprised with that.
Look, there are definitely two sides to this story. Definitely two sides to this story. We'd love to hear from you if you're a Hull or a Watford fan. And by the way, Morecambe fans, I know, Watford got a lot of notice because the National League game, Altrincham against Morecambe at the weekend, was called off at 2:52. 8 minutes before kick-off.
Oh,
I mean,
what can I say?
Well, you know what?
I don't know what to say, really. But you must look at the weather and say, what is the forecast in the next 2 hours? And if it's not going to get improved...
I think you've got to go further, Ray. I think if the forecast is bad, particularly in the lower leagues, a decision has to be made the night before. If there's any doubt, call it off. Look, if the weather improves and you might have been able to play, well, tough luck.
Yeah, exactly.
At least people haven't had to travel. Call it off if the forecast is bad the night before and save the fans travelling. It's expensive, not to mention time-consuming.
No, absolutely.
It's 7 o'clock exactly. Coming up, we turn our attention back to Manchester United and whether Ruben Amorim's rant after the Leeds game was the right thing to do. That's next.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Save on your next car in the real sale. It's the UK's biggest used car sale. I'm just Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me through until 10, 6 minutes past 7. Monday, January the 5th. Smithy in South Devon says, big shout out to Brentford. First win at Everton since 1946. Absolutely, we will be giving them a shout out later on. 7th in the table under Keith Andrews, who, let's be honest, everybody was surprised that he was appointed. We're all red-faced because he's just...
Frightening, really. What a result, though.
Yeah.
Going to Everton, and I think he was the was he the coach behind the scenes, set play coach?
Yeah.
And obviously they've seen something in him that the players are responding to him, and they enjoy working with him. So that's why they've gone with that gamble. And he is a gamble. He won't mind me saying that, but he's done brilliant. Absolutely
he's
fantastic.
done sensationally. Big Len, who's a Villa fan, says, morning, Jeff and Ray. The Portsmouth game getting called off despite a local Sunday League team playing their game that morning. Ha, ha, ha. You know what, Big Len, and I take that point, but I tell you what, the Sunday League game wasn't played at a ground which was surrounded by massive stands, which cast their shadow over the playing surface, so there's no possibility of a thaw. And that's the reason. I live 25 minutes away from Portsmouth, and believe you me, I looked out my back garden. I wouldn't have wanted to take a step on the ground out there because it was rock hard. Right, lots on the way for you this morning. 3-time BDO World Darts Champion Glenn Durant will give us his thoughts on whether Luke Littler's dominance for the sport is good for him, but is it bad for the sport? We'll ask the former West Ham defender James Collins if his old side are destined for the Championship next season. Celtic legend Charlie Mulgrew will be with us after Wilfred Nancy's reign went from bad to worse with that derby defeat against Rangers. And former Man U coach René Meulensteen will tell us if time is about to be up for Ruben Amorim. After his bombshell comments yesterday. Whether he's the manager or the head coach, it's been a bumpy old 14 months in charge, and it was no different yesterday after his side had picked up a point at Leeds. Let's hear what Amorim had to say.
I want to say that I'm going to be the manager of this team, not just the coach. And I was really clear on that. And that is going to finish in 18 months. And then everyone is going to move on. That was the deal. That is my job, not to be a coach. If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. No, guys, I just want to say that I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months and then we move on.
Let's get the thoughts of the Manchester United correspondent at The Sun, Samuel Luckhurst. Morning, Samuel.
Morning, Samuel.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no, absolute pleasure, mate. Look, Ruben Amorim, it was clearly pre-planned, wasn't it? What was his intention, do you think?
Well, it's a power play, this, or it's a bit like an Enzo Maresca, where you know that you want it to end and it's going to end soon. It feels very difficult to see him coming back from this, mainly because he just doesn't have the credit in the bank. I think it's something like 24 wins from 63 games. I mean, you look at United's position in the league and it's pretty respectable. And with the best part of the second half of the season to go, there's a Champions League place there for the taking. But he clearly feels as though things aren't the way they should be. It is rather bizarre, nearly 14 months into a tenure, to all of a sudden have a problem being referred to as the head coach. That was how he was introduced by United when they appointed him back in November 2024. Now he says he wants to be the manager. That, again, it's a power play. He's clearly not happy with Jason Wilcox, the director of football. I think there was a barb lobbed at Christopher Vivell, who's the director of recruitment as well. And these guys as well, they've not got a great deal of credit in the bank. I mean, Wilcox was billed as having the best eyes in football by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but you look at some of the signings United made, and certainly who they were targeting up front, Liam Delap, and ending up with Benjamin Sesko, that's not worked out well so far. Vivell came in on a temporary basis originally 18 months ago, has worked at some a big club in Chelsea and an impressive club in RB Leipzig. But you look at Amorim and you compare him to Jose Mourinho, who obviously kicked off unsurprisingly midway through his second season at United. Mourinho had credit in the bank because he'd won 2 trophies in his first season, and he had a CV that was largely unrivaled. Amorim is nowhere near that point, and he did touch upon that yesterday, mentioning Mourinho, saying, "I'm not Mourinho, I'm not Conte, I'm not Tuchel." But even Manchester United fans, they don't chant his name very often these days. They did last season. They were much more supportive, I would say, of Amorim last season. It really does feel as though it's got to the point where perhaps for all parties, a clean break is the best way forward.
It looks like he's not going to walk away, but he must have known when he signed for Manchester United, you're going to be head coach. You're not going to be manager. We're going to have other people. And he said, yes, I'll sign that dotted line. I want to be head coach. So someone's moving the goalposts here, whether it's Manchester United behind the scenes or is it Amorim. And that doesn't work, does it? And it looks like he don't want to walk away, but he said 18 months left. It's up to Manchester United now. So he's more or less looking, well, sack me.
Yeah, indeed. And clearly the bugbear for him this month is signings or lack of signings. I mean, he was in a very downbeat mood on Friday, and then yesterday the press conference was going along pretty well, very innocuous. It was due to centre on his defence of Benjamin Sesko. And then right at the end, again, to a question that allowed him to diffuse that whole situation. Instead, he took the pin out of a grenade and lobbed it and caused carnage again. So clearly, as I said, in regards to transfers, United have got their own targets or their own recommendations. He's got his own recommendations. This has happened before at other clubs. It's happened before at United. I mean, Ed Woodward, that authority on football had the brass net to defy Jose Mourinho and say, no, your centre-back recommendations aren't good enough for Manchester United. What happened was that United ended up having their worst defensive season in 40 years and sacked Mourinho halfway through it. So these power struggles have gone on before at United. They clearly wanted Antoine Semenyo this month. The money is there for signings, but Amorim touched upon this on Boxing Day and it flew under the radar a little bit. He spoke about needing to find common ground quite often with Wilcox. And clearly at the moment, there is not a lot of common ground between the two of them.
But one thing is absolutely plain, though, Samuel. And look, they've got a lot of injuries at the moment. And of course, the African Cup of Nations is going on. But they have to recruit. Look at the bench yesterday. Malacia, Fredrickson, Kokonki, Xerxes, Jack Fletcher, Tyler Fletcher, Lacey, Mantato. This is Manchester United. So they simply have to recruit. People surely, rather than looking at Amorim, should be looking at those above him, should be looking at those who are responsible for recruitment.
It's a valid point, especially where there's a Champions League place there for the taking. I'm sure the hierarchies view would be, well, when you did have these players and when you do have these players available, the form is erratic. The team struggled to win successive games, which is ridiculous. They've only won 3 games on the spin once this season. They've won 3 games of their last 11, which ordinarily you'd say that's borderline relegation form, but somehow United were 5th in the table temporarily yesterday. With Semenyo, he's clearly a winger. You look at that Manchester United squad, the place to strengthen is in midfield. Now, if you want to go and get a top draw midfielder this month, you are paying through the nose. You'll be paying enough in the summer as it is. But those players, those quality players, they're just not attainable. And I suspect Amorim wants to compromise and bring in someone who could be more of a short-term fix. You go back to the winter transfer window last year, Patrick Dorger and Aidan Heaven, they were club-led signings. They were not Ruben Amorim signings, or they were signings that Amorim was just okay. But you look at Mateus Cunha, who's a player that Amorim put his arm around in the Old Trafford tunnel after he'd helped Wolves beat United. That's a player that clearly Amorim fully endorsed United going for. Brian Mbeumo the same, given that he came up against him when Brentford beat United last season. But United are starting to look at targets who Amorim just doesn't fancy. And Amorim has his own targets who United clearly don't feel as though that they should be going for this month. And Joshua Xerxes is an interesting case. I mean, he did very well when he came on yesterday. But the way Amorim has been treating him recently, he's been practically trying to manage him out of the club. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you get an upgrade in. But I think from United's perspective, they probably want to preserve the status quo and preserve this squad for the remainder of the season, get the players back from AFCON, and then get that Champions League place or a European place. The trouble is, as you say, the squad is depleted at the moment and they're not winning that many games. And looking at the AFCON results yesterday, it's still going to be a while before they get Mbeumo back and Nusa Mazraoui back.
Samuel, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
They're only 3 points behind Liverpool.
Yeah. There's still got so much to play for. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I think Man United fans are very realistic. If they can somehow get in, and it's a weird season, isn't it? I mean, Liverpool dropping points.
They've got every chance.
Every chance
at the moment. But you understand the manager's discontent if the powers that be there are talking about bringing in players that he doesn't want, not his players.
I'm a little bit with him in that scenario because he's got to work with them every day. He's got to know exactly what he needs, sort of personalities and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, you've got to have a good relationship. Yeah. If you're with the director of football as a manager, you've got to have a good relationship.
You do.
And help each other.
Yeah,
I mean, it don't look like they've got that.
Sam's just texted and said they need someone like Scott McTominay in the middle of the park.
Oh, yeah.
Fair point, mate.
Definitely.
Coming up, we turn our attention to the surprise package of the season, Brentford. Do we all owe Keith Andrews an apology? I think so. We'll discuss that next. Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. It's 21 minutes past 7 o'clock. Got a heartfelt text here, a really heartfelt text from Scott, who's a Man United fan. It's quite long, so bear with us. He said, I'm sick to death of the continual criticism of the manager who coincidentally was lined up to replace Pep, so he can't be that bad. The fault and finger-pointing should be squarely put at Ineos and the entire ownership structure of the club. They had the mantra of best in class, but are absolute frauds, want to be Harrods, but we are Primark. Who is Jason Wilcox to try and impart wisdom and tactical coaching on Amorim? Wilcox and Barada need to go before the manager. They brought him in knowing he plays a specific way, yet they do not give him the tools to succeed. Start calling out Sir Jim. Failed business, failed cycling team, and failed at Nice. This is United, a different animal. I've now checked out. Thank you, Scott.
Wow.
I can feel the passion and indeed the pain in that.
Olivia's got the ump because you like Primark, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't say things like that, Ray. Olivia's a Harrods girl. If ever there was one.
Oh, no, I'm a Primark girl. I am. I am. Primark all day long.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh, well. Right, hat-trick for Igor Thiago yesterday. What a result that was for Brentford, 4-2 over Everton. I mean, to say they've been the surprise packages this season, Ray, is the understatement.
Unbelievable.
If they maintain it, I mean, they're just off the Champions League places at the moment.
It's great to see, though. That's what you want to see in football, don't you? Not a lot of managers do get the opportunity, and Keith Andrews, he'd always say, I've got a little bit of luck, maybe. Thomas Frank going to Spurs, and they was looking around at managers, but they've seen enough in me to give me an opportunity. Yeah. And you ask any, especially British guys, and they don't get a lot of opportunities these days in management. So to get an opportunity like he got, he's got good people around him. The players respect him. The players are obviously he's putting good sessions on in training. Obviously, the players know exactly what their jobs are. And they're going in delivering. That's the hardest bit, is going on a weekend and playing like you do all week in training. And that's what they're doing, and that's why they're getting results.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's great to see. It's great to see.
It is great to see it. And they've done it having sold Mbumo, Visser and Norgard. It's astonishing.
And lost their manager, really.
Yeah.
He was doing a great job before he left.
He was. Right, you heard Olivia a moment or two ago, because it's time for this.
Chelsea, 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 Chelsea.
Yes, celebrity Chelsea fan Olivia Bazaglo is back with us. So
Primark.
What are we talking about, Olivia?
Yeah, Primark's Chelsea fan Olivia Bazaglo. I just want to take a look back at the game at the Etihad. When Ray came in this morning, he said thank you. I think Arsenal fans all over the country are thanking Enzo Fernandez for that goal. The second half performance I thought was particularly impressive.
Yeah.
Given what happened in the first half, for the interim manager Callum McFarlane to come in and make the changes that he did were clearly worked. Andre Santos coming on, Enzo Fernandez moving further up the pitch. I was a little bit disappointed with City. Not disappointed, obviously, but I just thought the game was there for the taking for them. Reece James,
Yeah, very good.
You did speak about him, I know, a little bit earlier on. I think
some really good tackles and blocks, and they really put their neck on the line, really, at times, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And they showed desire to stay in the game. Look, Man City in the first half, they could have been outside.
Yeah, should have been as well.
It could have been outside, and the game was over. But Chelsea stayed in the game, and in the second half, they really improved, I thought.
What are your thoughts then on Liam Rosenior, who's clearly coming in? I mean, it's as clear as, that hand at the end of my wrist. That's,
Yeah. I think Chelsea fans are quite torn in this sense, because I think a lot of Chelsea fans don't necessarily agree with the way that the club is being run. But I think the Enzo Fernandez goal at the end of that game yesterday, you sort of just forget everything else and you're just celebrating a Chelsea player scoring an equaliser at the Etihad. And Chelsea fans have no option but to back the manager. Liam Rosenior is coming in. You're looking at the managers that Chelsea have had, Tuchel, Potter, Poch and Maresca under this ownership. And for whatever reason, none of them have worked.
You don't always have to have a big name. Look, we just mentioned Keith Andrews. And I've spoke to Liam quite a few times when we was doing a couple of shows. I tell you what, he's got good knowledge.
Yeah.
He's a very good coach. Look, it's a different sort of kettle of fish with Chelsea. Yeah. There's a lot of egos, a lot of bigger players, and it's probably a harder dressing room to run because there is a lot of big players in that dressing room. But if you can get the best out of the players, then you've got to give him an opportunity and get behind him.
Yeah, and I think the Chelsea fans will get behind him. I don't think that'll be a problem. I think the issues they have don't come with the manager. The issues they have come with people higher up, the sporting directors and things like that. I think Chelsea fans have to...
They weren't saying this when they were winning the Club World Cup.
No, they were. They were.
Well, our text word. Everybody was saying, everyone was giving it,
No, that was Maresca. Everyone was giving credit to Maresca for the job that he did with that team in the Club World Cup.
Those of us who tried to point out that the Club World Cup actually was no great deal because until the final, nobody was trying that hard.
Yeah, but I mean, what Chelsea did in that final was particularly impressive, and I think Enzo Maresca deserved the credit he received for that. However, that on the pitch was great, but Chelsea fans still had their issues with the sporting directors and some of the decisions that have been made, which I think is understandable. I just think you have to understand that this Chelsea now is not the Chelsea under Roman Abramovich. Roman Abramovich's ideology was win at all costs. He brought in the best managers, he brought in the best players. That is not where Chelsea are at right now. We have to understand it's a different Chelsea. Their ideology, it feels like, is being run more as a business, buying young players, hopefully selling them on for a profit. That's what it feels like. And I think Chelsea fans have to come to terms with that is how the club is going to be run. We're never going to go back to the Chelsea we were before.
Well, Liam Rosenior's speciality is dealing with young players.
Yeah. And Chelsea have got, I know Jamie Carragher did come out and say it's not an exciting young team. I think it is an exciting young team. I think there are young, exciting players within that squad. And I think that the fight, the spirit, the character was there to see against City. That hasn't gone.
Well, you had your best player out.
We had
Palmer.
We had Caicedo, Sanchez, Cucurella. They're three players that have played pretty much every single game for Chelsea this season. And Caicedo and Cucurella, two of the most experienced. I know Caicedo's young, but he's been around for a while. So I think with all things considered, in the context of the 72 hours that Chelsea have had, to come out of that game in the manner in which they did was particularly impressive. But I think now that Liam's come in, or is going to come in, I think there's no choice but to back him. And the club are going for young, inexperienced managers. They did it after Tuchel, and that's the way they're going, and Chelsea fans have to accept it. And they will get behind him. There's just not a lot that Chelsea fans can do in this situation to do with the ownership. What can they do? That protest, not go to games? It wouldn't hurt the club. No. It's hard. It's a real difficult...
I'm sorry, I've got a message from Ben, who's a Tranmere fan. He says, as a Tranmere fan speaking to a Hartlepool fan, surely you too have to shake your head in disbelief at some Celtic, Spurs, Manchester United and Chelsea fans. So a few results aren't going your way. Big deal. Football owes you nothing. Suck it up, buttercups. Ben, brilliant. I love it.
Anyway, I'm going to continue. But no, I'm not moaning. Listen, if Liam comes in, I'll get on board with that 100%. Do you think, though, this whole yes man question has been thrown about, and I think Enzo Maresca and Mauricio Pochettino are the two managers specifically that it seems like have had the same issues working with the hierarchy, and whether Poch walked away, Maresca walked away, whatever happens, they both left.
It's a similar sort of thing as Manchester United, isn't it? Very similar. Because other managers have been at Man United and it's not worked, has it? Some really big names at Manchester United, not worked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the board have got to look at themselves maybe and say, wait, well, we doing it? We running this club right? I don't know. I mean, it's a really tough one to call, but managers always lose their jobs, and Maresca, most Chelsea fans were behind him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What, 75%, 80%?
Yeah, I'd say most. I think it's most of them were behind him. You know, you're going to have question marks over managers and some decisions they make, etc. But I think largely. A lot of Chelsea fans probably didn't want him to go. There was enough excitement or enough there positively to suggest that he could take us forward. And I think, I didn't want him to go for one, but I can't speak for all Chelsea fans. But now it is what it is. They're bringing in another manager, and all Chelsea fans can do now is get behind him. And maybe the fact that Liam has come from Strasbourg and maybe has accepted that he will just be a head coach and he will just be dealing with the players training and on the pitch, and the hierarchy can then deal with all the off the pitch stuff. Maybe that's the way forward, and that's maybe where Maresca and Poch.
Look, young manager. Let's wish him well. I mean, let's hope it works out.
Yeah, 100%.
What an opportunity.
Yeah, a fantastic opportunity. Thanks, Olivia. One very quick test. Ryan, Sunderland fan says, you mentioned Brentford being the surprise package this season, but they're nothing compared to the mighty Black Cats. Everyone had tipped Sunderland to go down with the lowest points tally in history, but they're sitting in the middle of the top half of the table on the same points as Brentford. You are absolutely right, Ryan. And what a wonderful goal.
What a goal.
What a wonderful goal they scored at Tottenham yesterday.
Brilliant goal.
As well. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to another disaster, this time north of the border. Is Wilfred Nancy's Celtic the worst appointment ever by the Celtic board? We'll discuss that next.
The kitman, one of the most important cogs in a football club's machine. But it's not just laundry and hanging up shirts in dressing rooms. Oh no, it's hours of dedication and a real love of the game. Every club does it slightly differently, but ultimately the kitman's the guy washing the training gear, repairing holes, cleaning boots, and that's before they even think about the match day. The day before a home game, a kitman will already be at the stadium making sure the kit is ready to be laid out, and if anything needs doing in terms of printing, stitching, cleaning, it gets done. On the day, the kitmen are almost the first ones there in the morning. They're unloading kit from the training ground, medical bags, anything else a player or a coach may need between their arrival and full time. Once things are in full swing, they actually help with the warm-up too. When the whistle goes and the match kicks off, it's the one time a kitman can put his feet up. At full time, if they're at home, it's easy. All the kit goes in the washing machines, dries and is ready for use within the next 24 hours. Away from home, it's a different story though. If you're a kitman for Spurs, for example, you can't exactly use the machines at St James's Park. So it's back into the van, or onto the chartered flight, back to the training ground, wash everything there, and be ready to go again for the next game. Some might have to go to Europe a day later, so the pressure is definitely on. Working for a football club might look glamorous on the face of it, but we salute those who dedicate their lives to scraping mud off boots and washing a millionaire's underpants.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. Me, Jeff Stelling, Ray Parlour and Arnold Clark's Real Sale. Huge savings to be had on over 20,000 used cars. Now, is Wilfried Nancy's appointment as Celtic boss arguably one of the worst decisions we've ever seen?
I feel like there's a huge disconnect between him and the players, and that is on him. That's not on the board, that's on him.
Celtic, you can't lose, or else it's an absolute crisis.
The only thing that matters in Glasgow is winning football games. That's your job to do. It's embarrassing.
You lose so many games in the 8 matches he's had, it's going to come at a consequence.
Yes, I want to win games. We all want to win games, but this is the reality for the moment. But I see many, many good things. That's why the frustration is here, because we deserve better.
So when Martin O'Neill stepped in after Brendan Rodgers, he won 7 out of 8. Wilfried Nancy arrived from the MLS. He's lost 6 out of 8. The latest, of course, against old firm rivals Rangers. They led as well in that game, but lost 3-1. So what next for the Frenchman? Let's ask 5-time league title winner with Celtic, Charlie Mulgrew. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray.
Hey, Charlie, look, I mean, we look at the stats, the 6 defeats in 8, 4 out of 6 defeats in the league. What puzzles me is when I hear Wilfried Nancy talking and he says he sees signs of improvement. Where exactly is he seeing those signs of improvement?
Jeff, I think what he's talking about is that there's spells in games where things look really good. I mean, the first half on Saturday was very good, but it's not enough. It's Celtic losing one game, drawing one game is a disaster. Up here in Glasgow, you feel it everywhere. People speak about it till the next game. To lose 6 games out of 8 is just it's nowhere near good enough. Everybody knows it. So there's small signs there, and I think when he's come out in press conferences and saying there's signs of improvement, I suppose it's the only thing you can say, but it's just no good enough.
Charlie, what's he changed from Martin? Because Martin went in there. I know, look, everybody respects Martin O'Neill, fantastic manager, and he got the results. He got the results he needed for Celtic, who pushed them up again. But he's gone there, and obviously he's come in. And what has he changed from Martin's team? Different formations or different personnel?
He changed the formation. So he's went to a back 3, so he plays like a 3-4-3. And the big issue for me is he plays wingers at wing back a lot of the time, and that's okay when you've got loads of possession and you're keeping teams in their half.
Yeah,
because the wingers can then stay high and pin back their fullbacks or their wing backs. But it's not happening often enough, and a lot of the time, especially second half against Rangers, they wingers were playing as fullbacks, and if you look closely at their positioning and how they're trying to defend, you can just tell it's alien to them. So the fact he's playing that formation is fine, but if the wingers are playing as wingers and not as fullbacks, and that's been a big issue. But Ray, I don't think that's been the main thing for me. the main thing is when Martin O'Neill steps in, I don't think it would have mattered what formation Martin O'Neill played. I think the way he is with people and the way he manages people, you could see the players clearly responded to that, and it's because he's authentic. He's got an energy that he brings, even the way he talks to the media and stuff. You can feel and you can trust the way he talks. I just don't get that with Meulensteen. I feel there's a clear disconnect between. There's disconnect right through the club at the moment, but the main connection you need is between the players and the management, and you just don't feel that. You can see the players are a bit confused and a bit. I mean, half time came in Saturday, and Celtic were brilliant going at half time, and I was sitting there thinking, oh no, because it's happened so many times. There's been games against Dundee United where they've been brilliant first half, we're in at half time, and I don't know what happens in there, but you just get the feeling that they're going to come out and other managers adjust and change things, and Celtic don't seem to be doing that or responding to the half-time message, whatever that is, and then things just go completely their way.
Yeah. I mean, you know, look, I know it's hard to bear as a Celtic fan, but in the second half as a neutral, the Rangers fans chanting, keep the board, which, brought some more smart to our face. But, talking about the board, and can they risk giving Wilfred Nancy funds in this transfer window? Which I think everyone accepts they need reinforcements, but are they going to trust him with those reinforcements?
That's a big thing, Jeff, because I think that's why they went for a permanent manager, potentially, because maybe they knew the window was coming and they thought, right, if there's somebody going to be here for 2 and 3 years, we want him to have the final say on the signings. Now the board are obviously in a position where, and I'm sure they'll be talking about things, is Nancy the man to spend the money that we need to spend? It's clear as day money that has to be spent. The last window wasn't anywhere near good enough, the last couple of windows. So there needs to be a bit of money spent. Now, you need to put somebody in charge there that can give the final word and can be trusted to spend that money. And then the other thing you talk about is then he would recruit for his formation. So although wing backs it can obviously fill in at full backs and can be adjusted, at the moment Celtic really don't have the wing backs in place that probably Nancy would want. So he would be signing players specifically for their positions and even the number 10 positions and players to place outside, like full-backs as outside centre-backs. I don't know whether... I don't think he's a man to be trusted with that money. The big thing for me is the goals that are conceded. I've never seen Celtic concede so many goals. It's madness. In goal, you can't win games, never mind titles, conceding that amount of goals.
No clean sheets under him.
No clean sheets. What sums it up is Danny Rose come into Rangers and they've not been great by any manner of means, but they had a bad first half and they concede 1 goal. Probably should have been more, but they defended certain situations better. Butler makes a few saves. Celtic have a bad second half and they concede 3, and I think that sums it up for me.
Yeah, I think most Celtic fans would be scratching their head because Martin O'Neill was doing such a great job. Look, it might have been down to Martin O'Neill, but Martin O'Neill said, I would have stayed to the end of the season. That would have been a more logical move for Celtic to say, well, yeah. Martin, you say we can have a good look around in the summer for another manager. Yeah. And that would have been a correct move for Celtic board to say, look, we can go on now under a manager we trust. And Martin, he knows knowledge of football. He knows people who they need and what sort of people you can bring into the club who's not going to upset the club. So that would have been a logical move. That would have been ideal. It felt to me that the decision was already made. Even when they gave Martin O'Neill the call, it was almost like step in, do us a favour till we get somebody in. And then I know that happens at clubs, but generally, you intern managers, it's like an unwritten rule. If they win 2 or 3 games in a row, it's like, right, surely just give him the job because he's getting the players to respond. Martin O'Neill won, was it 7 out of 8? Only lost against Midtjylland, so who are a good team. He won away at Feyenoord in Europe. So looking back now, it's easy in hindsight. He should have stayed in charge.
Charlie, thank you very much.
Top man, Charlie.
From a Celtic perspective, that things will improve. Cheers, Charlie. Thank you very much indeed.
But surely, if Martin O'Neill wanted to stay, and he would have understood till the end of the season, then we could have a good look around to see what the managers available. Might be more managers available during the summer. then we can make our move. And Martin would have loved that. He would have been perfect because he loves Celtic, and I just don't get it. Sometimes
it was just a strange appointment in the sense of it was a massive gamble to take a manager, from the MLS. To manage, one of the biggest clubs in Britain.
Of course it is,
a huge gamble. Morning, lads. Joshy here, Manchester United fan enjoying this morning. Heard you, Jeff, on Jamie Carragher. To be honest, I completely agree with Carra. Amorim's proven nothing. Just look at the stats. Last season's position and the Europa League final. Don't know how you or anyone can defend the job he's done. Well, don't look at last season's position, Joshy, because he wasn't there the whole season, was he? When did he come in? November? So I don't think everything from last season can be put down to him. And you did reach the Europa League final. Doesn't he get some credit for that? Okay. Rotten final, rotten performance from both of the sides, in truth. But instead of looking at last season's position, Joshy, look at this season's position. You're sixth in the table. You're 3 points behind Liverpool, who spent a small fortune during the course of the summer. You're a few points off Champions League places. So, look, I'm not an apologist for Ruben Amorim, but as United fans, I think maybe look with a sort of glass half full view rather than a glass half empty. However, it's easy for me as an outsider. Yeah. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
After Luke Little cruised to his second consecutive world title at the Ali Pali, we're asking you this morning whether his dominance actually could become bad for the sport. He has been brilliant for the sport, no question about that. But did any of you, like I did, flick over midway through the final when it was sort of 4-1? You thought, well, this is all over. Or is this superstar status exactly why so many people tune in? 03717 223344 is the number. And we'll be bringing you the latest on Liam Rossinia's pending appointment as the new Chelsea boss. And that's our look ahead, all thanks to Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
Good morning, 7:51, Monday, January the 5th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me right through until 10. And right now it is time for this.
26k for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Yes, talkSPORT kicking off 2026 by giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000.
Yeah, OK. At 12 p.m. this Friday, we'll be calling one lucky winner with a guaranteed payment made that day. Yep. One of you could pocket, listen to this, 26 grand. It's 26k for 2026. Here's how to enter.
Yeah, your chance to win. Text WIN. Just the word WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 423 9761. Lines close at 12 o'clock on Friday. That's when you need to answer your phone if it rings. UK residents only, 18 plus. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com/win. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. And the best of luck to you. Now, Luke the Nuke Little has gone and done it again, winning back-to-back PDC World Darts Championships, cruising to his victory at the Ali Pali. So we're asking this morning, could his dominance become bad for the sport? I think, first of all, it's important to say, Luke Little has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant for the sport of darts, and brought in new viewers, new players,
absolutely,
a lot.
Youngsters.
But, you know, is this going to be a Phil Taylor type era, where Taylor won 8 years on the bounce, 11 out of 12 world championships? And was that good or bad for the sport? Well, let's find out from a man who will have an opinion, because he was close to all of the greats of the sports for the past 30 years or so. The voice of darts, Russ Bray. Morning, Russ.
Morning, Russ.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray. How are you boys? All good?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Look, I mean, brilliant tournament. Absolutely brilliant tournament. One fantastic semi-final, one of the best matches I've ever seen, but an anticlimactic finish. Is it a problem, Russ, that Luke Little is so far ahead of the rest?
Well, like you said there, Jeff, we had that with Phil for so many years, where he dominated. He dominated the field. I don't think this will happen, and I really, really don't, because there's so many good players in depth now. When you look at Kian Van Veen, you look at Josh Rock, Luke Humphries, of course, these guys, you know, they're still only youngsters as well. Obviously not as young as Luke, but they're youngsters as well. And I don't think he could dominate the same as Phil. Yes, he's going to win titles left, right and centre. But at the end of the day, I think these guys will be, but they've got a target to chase. Whereas early doors with Phil, you probably only had maybe one or two players that could even have a go at him. Now you've got an old daffy of them that can really, you know, crack into it.
And Russ, just looking at the this year's World Championship, it's amazing to see how many more countries involved, isn't there? I mean, it's really spread around the world. If you get people coming from everywhere now, before it was a lot more British styles and maybe Europe with the Dutch guys and whatever. But now it's spread all around the world, and that's only good for darts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm still lucky. I'll still go out and do the Asian tour. So I go out to Asia every 5 minutes. And also I do some of the World Series. And to go out and see the talent that's out there and what's coming through, it really is incredible. I think you're going to have a similar thing that happened with the snooker and happened with the golf. Where someone in Asia, I'm not saying going to win a world title, but will go deep into a big tournament. And of course, then everyone sees that and they don't want to jump on the bandwagon and away they go. If that hadn't already started, to be honest with you. So, going worldwide, it's great for the sport.
I mean, look, and every sport needs a megastar, needs a headline act, if you like, and Luke Littler is certainly that at the moment. Yeah. The scary thing, Russ, is he's not 19, is he yet? Phil Taylor won his last world title aged 52. Oh my God, how many could he win if he keeps the desire?
Well, I'll let you do the maths on that one, Jeff, because I'll be tired from all that now. No, all joking aside, I mean, it's for as long as he wants to do it at the moment, for as long as he wants it. Do you get the desire once you've got the fortunes, the money in the bank? Do you want to get up at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, get on a plane, travel to somewhere in the world, and then come back and then practice and all that? It's for as long as he wants that desire. I'm sure he's going to have that for a good few years, but he won't break Phil Taylor's records. Never in a month of Sundays. Don't want to do that.
Yeah, financially as well now, Russ. It's so good for the players, isn't it? I mean, all the prize money's going up for next year's World. Where's that going to be hosted? Is it the same place? Is it bigger room?
Yeah, it's in the Ali Pally, but it's going into the ground full there. Where we're in the little, I say the little side one. It's moving into the big one there where the fans village has been for the last few years. Then we'll pack in another, 2,500, I think, something like that. So each session is going to have 2,500 people, extra in it. It's just massive, Ray.
And it's amazing now. Like I've been in pubs and all my mates are going, "Oh, I want to go next year," because they're watching it. And do you know what? I saw you, Russ, when I was there a couple of Fridays ago, and. Do you know what? The atmosphere is so good, and there's all different sort of people supporting different teams, but there's no hassle. Yeah. Everyone's having a good time. And the best thing about it was getting on the train down to the Ali Pally, because I was sitting next to the Mario brothers. I've got 7 chickens over there. Oh, it's brilliant.
Well,
the banter was fantastic.
Two boys, Robbie and Matt, they went. They were lucky. They were there for the semi-finals. They saw Gary Anderson against Jan van Veen, one of the great matches, and they were dressed as beer bottles. And Russ, you remember, like I do, the early days back at the Circus Tavern, when there'd be 3 men and a dog in the afternoon session. It's impossible to imagine the growth of this sport.
And that's exactly how it's gone. With you touch on what you said there, Ray, driving.
Russ, brilliant to see you again, pal.
Top man, Russ. See you later, mate.
Cheers, boys. Have a great show.
Cheers, mate. Graham, who's out with his dog Alfie, frozen to bits, he says best game of darts this year has to be the semi-final with Gary Anderson and Van Veen. Anderson really did turn the clock back. He is a legend of darts. It was fantastic.
He is a legend of darts because he keeps doing it every single year, does he, Gary? He keeps coming back, and he's obviously he's been world champion, but he's an amazing player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Really, really class player. He's a good player, the Dutchman.
Oh, yeah, he's got to bounce back now.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, doesn't want to let this scar him in any way, shape or form. He's got to remember what he did against Anderson and earlier in the tournaments as well. James has said, I took my 12-year-old son to the Ali Pally quarterfinals this year.
Fantastic.
He said, it was great to see so many children attending the event. The future is bright. And Russ was very kind to spend time with Seb, who's just got his karate black belt. Russ was great with him and spent loads of time with the youngsters. So well done, Russ.
Well done.
And thank you for that, James. It was interesting. Loads of headlines in the papers, saying, Luke Littler going to lose 50% of his prize money. Yeah, it's called income tax, but it's what we all pay, whether we are Luke Littler or Ray Parlour or Jeff Stelling. Goodness me. Now, I wouldn't mind paying 50% on £1 million winnings, would you?
Lovely.
Anyway. Coming up, after City slipped up yesterday, we asked the question, are Aston Villa now realistically Arsenal's biggest challengers for the title? 03717 223344 is the number to call. We'll discuss that next.
As Lewis Hamilton, now at Ferrari, dares to dream of a record 8th F1 world title, the Tifosi will be hoping the Brits can bring glory back to Italy. To many, Ferrari and Formula One are inseparable. They're the only team in the sport today to have competed in the first World Championship in 1950, are the most successful team in history, and have built some absolutely gorgeous cars. Their first driver's title was won in 1952 by Alberto Ascari. Considered one of F1's most dominant and best-loved champions, he drove the iconic Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. Le Professeur Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Räikkönen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last Ferrari world champion. So, 16 constructors' titles, 7 more than McLaren, and 15 drivers' titles, 4 more than, again, McLaren. Ferrari are truly Formula One's top team. Forza Ferrari.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ray Parlour and Arnold Clark. Selling your next car in the real sale. It's the UK's biggest used car sale. Have you noticed, Ray? It's January. Everything has to be paid in January, doesn't it? It's just beyond belief.
All the taxes and this, that, whatever, Jeff, and then VAT come in. Oh.
Yeah. Golf club membership comes round, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
My daughter's university accommodation.
Oh,
daughter's university fees. Everything. Everyone wants it at once, you know.
And everybody's done their money over Christmas. Everyone's, I've got to pay my credit card bill back and this, that, whatever.
I know.
So January's quite a dour month, isn't it? Not a great month, if I'm being honest.
No wonder people have dry Januaries. I have to tell you, with all the bills I've got to pay at the moment, you need a drink.
It's too late for me now. It's too late for me already.
Right, lots on the way for you this morning. 3-time BDO world champion Glenn Durant will give us his thoughts on whether Luke Little's domination is actually bad for the sport of darts. Former Man U coach René Meulensteen will tell us if time is about to be up for Ruben Amorim. Before all that, though, after a huge weekend in the Premier League, are Aston Villa now the main hopes for those who don't want Arsenal to win the league?
Goalkeeper's gone miles away and he's out of his goal, and McGuinness put it in from 30 yards and he's surely sealed the points now. Aston Villa 3, Nottingham Forest 1. Mateus Mane has made it 3-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. This West Ham team is an embarrassment. Scott Parker's side, marooned 6 points adrift of safety. Brighton 2, Burnley 0.
Over 2, Arsenal 3. 2 Declan Rice goals, stroked in perfectly.
Cunha down the right-hand side, into the area, slips it under the goalkeeper, and in. And Cunha scores an equaliser for Manchester United.
Spurs 1, Sunderland 1. It's Brian Brobby who's rifled home, and what a goal it was as well.
Thiago, who's got it, completing his hat-trick. Everton 2, Brentford 4.
The ball goes in the back post. Bruno Guimaraes has scored! Oh my word! What a goal for Fulham! Just when Liverpool thought they'd stolen the victory, it's Harrison Reed from 30 yards out. Fulham 2, Liverpool 2.
Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. Enzo Fernandez with the finishing touch.
Look, we heard the commentary there, so I'm just going to mention it right now. Harrison Reed.
Oh
my goodness. He must have gone to bed just reliving that goal right throughout. That is unbelievable strike.
Unbelievable strike. It's one of them, you just can't stop it. You could have 3 goalkeepers in there. You wouldn't stop that. It was a brilliant strike, and what a game. It was a fantastic game. I thought they got the winner. Gakpo took his shirt off, then he got subbed, didn't he? And then to come up with a goal like that to get the equaliser, and they probably deserved a draw. I thought they played all right.
They did. Well, they deserved a draw for more than one reason for me, because how Florian Wirtz's goal is not offside is beyond me. And I don't care about it.
I don't know how that all works.
It's ridiculous. It was quite clear. You looked at the lines on the pitch, or you looked at the penalty spot, and it is quite clear that he is in front of the defender. And then we suddenly hear this nonsense about a 5-centimetre margin of error in VR. We've never heard that before. When they've been looking at armpits and things like that, we've never heard 5 centimetres mentioned before. It just seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it does, yeah. But look, what a cracking goal. There's some good goals this weekend as well. I mean, Thiago got to mention his goals. He had a one-on-one, a little chip over the keeper. Great finish. We've got to mention Sunderland.
The Brian Brobby goal was brilliant.
Left foot smashed.
And the boy who scored the
it's a great move, though. If you watch Sunderland's move, though, Wade just moved in 1-2, and his first touch was superb, and bang.
It was Mukiele and Lafay
really
combining
top class goal. That
was absolutely
really top
brilliant.
Class.
And the boy who scored the Bournemouth goal to make it 3-2 at the end, that was a
cracking goal as well. Yeah,
there were lots of great goals around the weekend. But of course, the story at the top of the table is that Villa closed the gap with that win over Nottingham Forest. And although their squad isn't that deep, you do just wonder whether they can maintain the challenge if they manage to use the January window successfully.
Well, I think they will. I think they will look at it, certainly. I think if the board and Emery says, look, we definitely need so-and-so, I think they've got to back him. What he's done at Aston Villa has been absolutely brilliant. What he's brought to the club now. If he can keep everybody fit, I know Onana's got injured, then against Arsenal. He didn't feature the weekend. He's a big loss because he's a real good physical specimen in that midfield who can get around the pitch, and very, very important player for Villa. But the other guys come in. Kamara's in there, and Tillemans.
Kamara's excellent.
Oh, top player, really, really. So we know what Rodgers has done in the last month or so.
And Ollie Watkins is on fire.
Yeah, 4 in 3 games, isn't it? 4 goals, and can he get to the 20 goals? He's got a piece in the Sun today. I'm looking at it now. Can he get to 20 goals this year?
Wow!
If he can, they're going to have to be there and thereabouts, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's only good news for England as well. Going into
absolutely
the World Cup.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But John McGinn again, another good performance from John, getting a couple of goals. You know what you're going to get out of John every week, the work rate. People must look at John McGinn and say that you get a buzz out of John McGinn watching how he plays, because he always gives 100%. And look, he's got quality as well. There's no doubt about that. But the desire to play is fantastic, and that's you need John McGinn in West Ham at the moment in that midfield. He'll get a few people going in now, and it's. Well, the keeper's had a nightmare for the third goal, and then he went, I'm injured now, can you take me on?
Yeah. I mean, I thought Forrest contributed to all of the Villa goals. But look, Villa showing no signs of going away. Speaking on the weekend breakfast, Tony Cascarino thinks they're showing signs of champions.
When he said that we need more of this, they've won the last 11 and the last 12. I mean, that's Premier League winning title form. And yes, they lost to Arsenal, and in the end, it was a heavy defeat. They've just bounced back. That's what good teams do. And Unai Emery must love the group of players he's got there. I think they've got, if you look at them, you think, do you know what a pleasure it would be to manage most of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's spot on, but I think Unai Emery is getting the most out of that group of players.
definitely. And they'll be looking at Europe as well. So can we get to that? You know, they've got every opportunity to get into the latter stages of Europe. So it must be a good buzz. I'm surprised with Ollie Watkins. He said it was a bit flat. The crowd were a bit flat.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if you're a Villa fan, you'll be on cloud nine now. You'll be buzzing.
You would have thought so. Maybe it was just too comfortable.
Because it might have been the early kick-off and all that sort of stuff. I don't know.
It doesn't help.
Doesn't help sometimes.
That's for sure. But Forest were unbelievably passive, especially the first half, you know. I mean, I thought defensively they were terrible, but they posed no threat at all. And when you look at some of the players that they've got, you know, you think, well, how can that be possible?
Well, the game plan was just to let Villa have the ball, defend for your lives. But if Ollie Watkins scores that first chance that you get when he got closed down and it was 3 yards out and the keeper made a good save, then it's totally your plans go out the window. But the second half they showed a bit more, Forest, and they got back into the game with Morgan Gibbs-White. But this game tomorrow, now, how do they approach the game against West Ham? They can't go to West Ham and play like they did in that first half.
They shouldn't be going anywhere. When you got
they're respecting Villa.
Anderson and Gibbs-White, Milenkovic, Murillo, Douglas Luiz, Hudson-Odoi, Neco Williams, so many talented players.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be going anywhere.
I think Sean Dyche
just trying to soak it all up.
I think Sean Dyche looked at the record, and Villa's record at Villa Park is amazing. I mean, I think they've only lost one game in the last 35 or something like that. It's ridiculous. So I think they respected him probably too much, if I'm being honest, and they didn't really have a go at Villa until obviously Watkins gets that brilliant goal in the first half, late into the first half, and then they have to change tactics a little bit, and it looked better in the second half. So I'm guessing Sean Dyche will look at the West Ham game and say, right, we need to start the game like we ended the game, or the second half performance, not the first half performance, because West Ham, they've got no confidence whatsoever. So we could take advantage of that. Where Villa, I know they lost to Arsenal, but up to the Arsenal game, they had so much confidence, belief, and you know, they probably respected them too much with the record they've got and the season they have in Villa, maybe. And I think Forest will be totally different against West Ham in that first half.
I think they need to be. Obviously, it's a massive game. And bear in mind, the West Ham to win.
West Ham need to win, really.
Well, West Ham
draw's no good for them even.
No, but then Forest's next game after that is Arsenal. Next league game is Arsenal, and then they're away to Brentford, who've only lost once at home this season, and only Arsenal and Man City have scored more goals than them. So they've got a couple of incredibly difficult games after that for us. So they really need to do something at West Ham.
Needs to get something out of the game. Whether it's a draw, but a win would be perfect for them. And West Ham fans are then suddenly thinking, that's it, we're in the Championship next year.
The 3 title challenges are all live on the talkSPORT network this week. On Wednesday, Palace against Villa. That's the talkSPORT 2 exclusive from 7:30. 7:30 as well for Man City Brighton on the talkSPORT app exclusively. Thursday, 8 o'clock, Arsenal against Liverpool, a talkSPORT exclusive. If you believe Mick the Guildford Gooner, what happens doesn't really matter too much. He says the Premier is Arsenal's to lose now, regardless of what Villa do. Even a pessimist like me can't see Arsenal slipping up now.
Can be done.
Yeah, Mick's gone from pessimism to optimism overnight. No. Brilliant. Coming up, we'll turn our attention back to Luke Littler and whether Ray spent his first million on football playing cards. That's it. very good morning to this talkSPORT breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me. That, of course, is Luke the Nuke Littler's iconic walk-on music. Why are we playing it? Because Littler says he's planned to splash some of his £1 million Ali Pally winnings on pizza for the family and some football stickers. I tell you, those football cards, not necessarily stickers, football cards, going to be a big thing.
It's a lot of pizza.
He's got a big family.
I know, yeah.
When you landed your first big contract, what was the first big thing you splashed out on?
Do you know what my dad always said? Try and buy your house quick as you can. He always tried to pay your mortgage off. So obviously my first house was a lot cheaper than what they are now.
Remember how much your first house was?
86,000.
Wow. You know how much?
In Harold Wood, Brentford.
My first house was £8,000.
£8,000.
£8,000.
I feel sorry for the youngsters now.
Ridiculous.
It's a lot harder now to get, you won't see many houses that sort of price now, Jeff. And I always tried to play that off. And I wasn't extravagant, really, Jeff, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't go out and I'd have a decent car, but nothing special, nothing over the odds of what you should have. You go in a car park now, it's amazing now. Compared to our car, we had Granadas in there, Capris and all that.
Yeah, well, Phil Thompson always tells the story about driving up to Anfield in his brand new
Tony had a Sierra
Ford
Cosworth.
Capri, you know?
I remember Tony Adams had a Sierra Cosworth and he had all young children. And I think I used to go in training with him and whatever. And one of his kids has dropped his lollipop onto the back seat. And it's obviously it's a sticky lollipop and it's stuck to the leather. And he's been there every time I got in the car. It's still there. And I said, Tony, you got to get. He said, pull it off, Ray. Get it off for me. And as I pulled it, half the leather come off with it. That's how long it was there. It was just and a lot of the time, a lot of the guys had sponsored cars as well.
Yeah.
So I remember
your name along.
I remember back in the day when I lived just back at Chapel Leaf near West Ham training ground, and you could see Trevor Booking go past with Trevor Booking on the side, Billy Bonds, the late the late Billy Bonds, Alan Devonshire, and all. Ray Stewart, look, that's his car gone past.
Hard to keep a low profile then, right?
Yeah. Well, if you always had a sponsored car, you don't go in the wrong areas, though. I mean, if you had an Arsenal sponsored car, you don't go to Tottenham High Road. You leave it there and go into a shop or something. But yeah, I mean, players these days are totally different, isn't they? They've got all the Ferraris and you're all sitting outside in the air. Got some lovely cars at Arsenal training. I'm just going by Arsenal. So I'm sure every single ground's the same, every single training ground. But as I said before, I always try to pay my house off.
Yeah.
First, and then you look at it and say, right, okay, I've got a bit more money now. I can go and I would always advise that to anybody.
Where Tony should have hung on to that Sierra Cosworth because they are worth. I watch bangers and cash. Honestly, things like Sierra Cosworth, they go for an absolutely ridiculous price.
Do you know the car as well, Jeff? I think I had it. I had one RS2000. Remember them?
Yeah, and they go for a fortune.
That was rapid. That was rapid.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the time I had a Peugeot. I think was a sponsor car back in the day from a dealership in Ilford. So that was good, and you got them tickets every now and again and whatever. But I think times have changed now. I mean, I know he's won £1 million. He's 18 years old, but his net worth already with sponsors and that sort of stuff. They do lots of exhibitions and all this sort of stuff. I mean,
prize money will almost be secondary.
Yeah, they're secondary now, and good luck to him. That's all I say.
Right, let's get the latest with Coral and a man who I think he is a sticker collector, John Hill.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Morning, John. Never mind the
Morning,
stickers. This is the first time I've managed to speak to you since Rochdale 1, Hartlepool 2. Take that, my son.
Yeah, fair play, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ray. So it's the first time I've come out and find you, actually, Jeff. I've brought myself around to coming on. And congratulations, you were the better team, Jeff, no doubt about it. Caught us off guard, 2 early goals, sucker punched us. I thought Luke Charman was excellent up front, by the way. He used to play
really
for Rochdale. That's the best I've seen him play, that's for sure. He was brilliant. And I just thought when Gomez Mancini came on, he just changed the game a little bit. We got that goal from Henderson. I thought, could we be in for a late equaliser? But it wasn't to be. And just a shame we've had no football since, Jeff. I don't know about you, but Rochdale's game on Saturday was off due to the weather. We've had a lot of racing called off as well, haven't we? It's really cold out there, I have to say.
Yeah, no, our game at Woking was off. I'm glad you mentioned Luke Charman, by the way, because he was just coming back from injury, and I think it was a year to the day that his best pal had died, so it was a very emotional occasion for him, and going back to his old club as well. But look, let's talk about stuff that the rest of the nation might be interested in, shall we?
Yes, including the man next to you.
Great
weekend for Arsenal,
title odds now after Chelsea done Arsenal favour.
Oh, it was a brilliant weekend for Arsenal, wasn't it? First, obviously, beating Bournemouth. That could have easily been a draw, Ray, couldn't it? You know, it was a topsy-turvy game. And then yesterday, you must have been delighted to see that Enzo Fernandez late goal go in for Chelsea. 1-3 now, Arsenal in this title race. It really is in their hands, isn't it, from here? City out to 3-1. They'll be disappointed again. Did they sit back in that 1-0 lead? Very unlike Manchester City, but to throw away 2 points, that is really costly for them. And then Aston Villa next best at 28-1. So, 1-3 from here. Ray, you're in a good position, aren't you?
I mean, I think that was good for the bookmakers as well, that Chelsea goal.
It was a good result,
because I think I was certainly on Man City to win the game, and I'm sure lots of people were on it, and they might have had Newcastle earlier on and those sort of in their trebles and whatever. But I mean, they've got a good chance, but I don't get carried away, John. You know, all I say is be in the hunt by March, April time, and if they got a 6-point lead then I might get carried away, but there's a long way to go still. And we know what footballs can do to you. If you get carried away, then sometimes it comes up and you lose out. And so it's been a long time since they won it. So, but can I ask you about Championship as well? Because Coventry lost again this weekend, didn't they? And I know Ipswich didn't play, but Middlesbrough got a great result, and that's hotting up as well. The playoffs and whatever. Wrexham on good form, and Preston got a good result. So what are Coventry now?
Well, they're now 4-5. I'm not quite sure how short they went, but I should imagine they were about 1-4, 1-3 at one point, Coventry. And brilliant result for Birmingham. They were excellent yesterday. I watched a little bit of that lunchtime game, and it's made it interesting now. In Ipswich, 7-4. They must have been double figures, because they were a long way drift, weren't they, in the first 3 months of the season, Ipswich. They gave their rivals a big start, and they were anti-post favourites, don't forget. So a lot of people would have backed Ipswich at the start of the season, expecting them to have a good campaign, but they're back in it now, and this should be fascinating. I really think even the likes of Middlesbrough 8-1 are in this, and then how far do you go down? Well, Watford are 25-1 after that. But this is one to definitely keep an eye on over the next few months. Yeah,
Coventry 2 wins in the last 8. Can I just take you north of the border, John, for a moment or two? Because obviously we had the Old Firm clash at the weekend. Rangers level on points now with Celtic. They're both 6 adrift of Hearts. Are Hearts now favourites to win the Scottish Premiership?
They are, 6-5 Hearts from here to win the Scottish Premiership. Celtic 2-1, Rangers 5-2. I don't know about you guys, but for the neutral, this is brilliant, isn't it? Because we've grown up seeing Celtic Rangers absolutely dominate Scotland. If it's not Scotland winning it, if it's not Celtic winning it, it's Rangers. So to see somebody else involved, I think is absolutely brilliant. And is it Aberdeen, the last side outside of Celtic and Rangers, to win it under Ferguson?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
So brilliant for Scottish football, I think, as I say. And I'm sure Ali McCoy, when he comes on, and Alan Brazil, they'll be licking their wounds at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant. Hey, John, keep Anthony Gomez-Mancini fit. He'll make a big difference for you. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Cheers, John.
Cheers, boys. Have a good week.
You too. That was a look at the latest odds with Coral 18+, gambleaware.org. I was going to say, though, Villa 28-1.
Wow, that's worth a few quid, isn't it? Surely. I mean, if they can keep going, get a few players in the summer, in the transfer window, you never know. It could get, and they keep their players fit. Anybody can win the Premier League after Leicester won it, can't they?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
5,001 they were. So.
Yeah, well, Leicester were dismissed and Villa have been dismissed.
Yeah, no, they're certainly in the title race.
Coming up, we'll turn our attention back to Manchester United and just how likely it is that Ruben Amorim leaves.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
We know sport is full of money, and when it comes to exhibition matches, it is the cash involved that gets them off the ground. But that's what makes it even more annoying if the event falls flat. When Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul, 65 million people streamed it on Netflix, but many people complained of buffering and freezing, and the fight itself wasn't that great either. So fans got shortchanged, while Tyson and Paul took home around $60 million between them. Another one with a huge prize pot was Tiger versus Phil in 2018. That had £9 million. But again, the pay-per-view had streaming issues. Miking up the players was an anticlimax too, and the golf itself was bang average. When Ronaldo went to Saudi, we all knew money was the driving force, given his salary of £177 million a year. But then they thought, let's get Messi over for a game. So we had PSG versus the Riyadh All-Stars. Both the GOATs were past their best, but PSG still lined their pockets, charging fans a few pounds to watch it on their official channels. Although it wasn't quite as bad as the 75 quid pay-per-view where Mayweather fought McGregor. I feel like what we really need is constantly high-quality action delivered to you for free. And that, my friends, is called talkSPORT.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark, 8:35 exactly. Save on your next car in the real sale. It's the UK's biggest used car sale. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me. We're here right through until 10 o'clock. Right, time now for a look at the latest news from the January transfer window in partnership with Intuit QuickBooks.
Transfer window. Breaking news on talkSPORT with Intuit QuickBooks. Tackle your self-assessment with Intuit QuickBooks. Search QuickBooks to find out more.
Rookies Roundup, right here every day. Rookies
rookies round up, which players are on their way. If an agent's got a story.
Hello, Alex Crook. What you got for me?
Crookie gets it first.
Yeehaw, cowboy! There's a snake in my boot.
Yeah, you know what the jingle means. Transfers are back. The deals that have gone through so far involving Premier League sides. Villa have signed the teenage Brazilian winger Alisson from Gremio. I think he's very much one for the future. Pascal Gross, back at Brighton.
That's a good signing for Brighton.
I think so too.
Because the fans know what he can give to the team, but it's a very young team, Brighton, and he's got that bit of experience for the dressing room area.
He got a fantastic reception when he came on against Burnley at the weekend. Brennan Johnson joining Palace, good move.
Yeah, well, I think Kudus got injured.
He got injured,
So that's not good news really for Spurs' point of view with the depth of the squad. But £35 million, sometimes he might have had something to do with that as well. I wanted to go to Palace, and good luck to him at Palace. So he looked okay against Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Newcastle won the game, but he showed signs that he's going to have a good. I think he'll
be decent for them. West Ham have brought in the Brazilian striker Pablo from the Portuguese side, Gil Vicente, 22 years of age, got 10 goals so far in the Portuguese league, but very inexperienced. Look, let's focus though on managerial movement this January. Liam Rossini expected to be announced as the Chelsea manager imminently. Ruben Amorim's future at Manchester United up in the air. Let's say a good morning to talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, big United fan, Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Morning, Crookie.
Good morning. Never a dull moment, is it, when it comes to Manchester United and Chelsea, both trying to outdo each other.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Man U then, Crookie. Is Amorim walking a tightrope at the moment after what he said at the weekend?
I think he's walking a very thin tightrope, Jeff. Myself and Ben Jacobs reported late last night that Ruben Amorim's future at Manchester United very much in the balance after that quite explosive press conference following the 1-1 draw with Leeds, when he seemed to round on the hierarchy, director of football Jason Wilcox and head of recruitment Christopher Vivell in particular. I think him saying that he was the Manchester United manager, not the coach, was a pretty clear indication that he feels he should have more control than maybe he's getting in this moment in time. I think Amorim is bristling because the hierarchy have suggested that maybe he's too wedded to one way of playing and needs to be more tactically adaptable. And from Amorim's side, we're also being told that he feels promises have been broken regarding this transfer window. He expected funds to be able to strengthen the squad. Of course, United were one of the teams who held talks with Manchester City-bound Antoine Semenyo, and I think naturally Amorim felt that £65 million release clause would be spent in other areas of the team if they couldn't get Semenyo from Bournemouth. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. United keeping their powder dry until the summer. Is that a reflection on the fact the hierarchy is starting to lose some faith in the Portuguese? And this is not a manager turning on his paymasters from a position of authority, even in the same way that Enzo Maresca did. He had just won the Conference League. He just brought Champions League football to Stamford Bridge. He won the Club World Cup as well. This is a manager, Ruben Amorim, who's been in charge for 64 games. I think he's won 23. So if you're looking for an excuse to fire him, I think he's just given one, and I don't see this ending well for Ruben Amorim.
So, Crookie, you're in the board, because we've had quite a few text messages backing Amorim and having a go at the board and whatever, and some are saying Amorim's not good enough. So, are you in the get rid of Amorim?
Listen, I don't think Ruben Amorim or the board have covered themselves in any glory. You have to remember Dan Ashworth, who was recruited to be the director of football because he was, in Sir Jim Ratcliffe's words, best in class. One of the reasons that Manchester United parted company with him very quickly is because he actually rallied against the appointment of Ruben Amorim. He didn't think this three at the back formation suited Premier League football, or indeed the Manchester United squad. I think he's been proven right. I don't think Amorim, over the course of his tenure, has been good enough. I think there are many more lows than highs. You go back to the Europa League final in Bilbao, there was an argument, I think, to fire Amorim after that, because you can't be tactically outwitted as he was by Ange Postecoglou in the biggest United game in recent memory. Even this season, yes, the league position is okay, but it's so concertinaed. They're as close to the bottom half of the table as they are really to the top three. Grimsby in the League Cup was an absolute abomination. Some of the home performances against 10 men of Everton, Wolves, West Ham in particular have not been good enough. But I also have question marks about Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada, the chief executive. Are they really the best in class? Are they really capable of getting Manchester United back to where they want to be? I think there's an argument that all three of them can go.
Crookie, do United fans have unrealistic expectations? You were 15th last season, for goodness sake. You're breathing down the necks of the Champions League places now.
Are they, though? Breathing down the necks of the Champions League places?
Well, they are. They're 3 points behind Liverpool, or 4th.
I think you look at Liverpool.
That is breathing down the necks. Doesn't matter which way you look at it. That is breathing down the necks of the Champions League places.
When they get their players back, Liverpool will pull away. I think.
What about when United get their players back? Look at the injury list at the moment. And those who win an African Nations Cup.
They didn't have an injury list when they got dumped out the League Cup by Grimsby, Jeff. Listen, can you sit here and say that you see Ruben Amorim? Can you envisage a scenario where Ruben Amorim is at some stage lifting that Premier League title aloft?
Well, can you?
There's comparison with Mikel Arteta.
Can you see a scenario where you can envisage anybody lifting the Premier League title as Manchester United manager?
Well, that's the ambition. That's the ambition that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has laid out. And there's comparisons with Mikel Arteta, finished 8th in his first season. A lot of Arsenal fans were against him early on. He was allowed to rebuild the squad in his own image. And now they're going to win the Premier League title. I'm just not sure that Ruben Amorim is good enough. I think he's out of his depth, Jeff. I really do. I think there's too many examples. That Everton game, live on talkSPORT, there is no excuse for Everton going down to 10 men. Their strikers don't score goals anyway. How can you defend a manager sticking to his back three? He's bringing Mason Mount on as left wing back when they're chasing the game against 10 men of Everton.
Okay. What about Chelsea? Is Liam Rosenior a done deal, Crookie?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Obviously, we had the images last night of him watching the Chelsea-Manchester City game on an iPad at the airport over in France, flying over to complete this move. I think this could be tied up very quickly. Chelsea have a difficult West London derby away at Fulham in midweek. I would expect Rosenior to be in the dugout for that one. And obviously there's knock-on effects because Chelsea own Strasbourg as well. And I think Gary O'Neill is the leading candidate to replace Rosenior. So maybe return to management over in France for the former Wolves and Bournemouth gaffer.
And Crookie, any other moves? Because you want to get them done early. If your teams are struggling, then you want to get the players through the door as quick as you can.
Yeah, West Ham are trying to do some business. You mentioned already that they've signed Pablo, one Portuguese striker. They're still trying to sign Adama Traore from Fulham, although he's being utilised at the moment. He came off the bench late on in the game I was at yesterday because they've got players away on African Cup of Nations duty. And they're looking to bring in another forward as well from Lazio. I'm just trying to find my countless emails to get his name at the moment. But actually, a lot of West Ham fans are rallying against these signings because they feel they're already doomed for the Championship and therefore they shouldn't necessarily be lavishing money to try and stay in the Premier League. I'm not sure it's quite that terminal for West Ham. It might be if they lose to Forest. Jorgen Strand-Larsen is on their list as well, but I think Wolves want too much money.
Yeah, Tati Castellanos from Lazio.
That's the one. Rolls off the tongue, that one, doesn't it?
It does.
He's not scored many goals.
Two.
He's not scored many goals in Italy this season.
No, scored 2 this season.
Yeah, and they do have a habit of bringing in strikers who don't really fire in the Premier League.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they have to be seen to be trying to do something, but their record of recruitment is just so appalling. Crookie, thanks very much indeed. He's got
no problem.
Oh, cheers, Crookie. Take care, mate. By the way, we talk about managers and things. Tony, big Liverpool fan. He's not a fan of Arne Slot. He said Arne Slot should have been sacked 2 months ago. It's a matter of time. He said, can you tell me what Liverpool's identity is under Slot? Are we a possession-based team, a counter-attacking team, a defensive team? Nobody knows.
I think he get a little bit of time was only because what he done last year, winning the Premier League.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think he's definitely got a lot of credit in the back.
The problem is when you think about sacking managers, you've got to have a plan, haven't you? Who's going to take his job? It's an hard job to take, isn't it, Liverpool? Yeah. No, it's a good job to take, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of expectations. Who's out there can do the job? There's not many can do that job.
Far too soon, I think, to question Arne Slot.
Yeah.
Right, let's take a look ahead at the next hour of the show with Benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
West Ham fans, we want to hear from you this morning. Was Saturday's 3-0 defeat at Wolves rock bottom? Mickey the Hammer says the fan base has to take a portion of the blame.
The first 15 minutes we was booing Kilman. Like, no matter how good a player is or not, when they've got that colour shirt on, you don't boo them.
03717223344. I'm not so sure that the fans can take the flak for what's happening to West Ham. Forest at home tomorrow, live on talkSPORT. Is that the last chance saloon for Nuno? Did you expect more from him after he replaced Graham Potter at the end of September? We'll take your calls next. And that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins Hire.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. I'm smiling because I've just read a text here from Stephen, who's a Man United fan from Surrey. He said, Man United and Man City derby coming up soon. United will lose in spectacular fashion. Amorim will then leave the club, be booted out. And Enzo Maresca will take over managing United. Mark my words. Stephen, it's not going to happen. That is just not going to happen. possibility Maresca might end up at Man City in some capacity, but I don't see him. Don't see him at United, do you?
No. I think he's been well linked, isn't he, with Man City? But it's all on Guardiola, really, isn't it? What does he do? Is he at the end of the season? Will he call it a day? He's got another year on his contract, though, Guardiola, and he don't usually walk out before that, does he?
No, it'll be interesting to see.
He'll stay again.
It might depend on what happens for the rest of the season. Whether they win the title or whether they fade away. Alex in Reading says sacking Amorim would be madness. United have improved this season. The table doesn't lie. They could and probably should have got far more out of games where they've dropped points. They're missing 5 to 6 key players at the moment, so it's going to be a tough period. But Amorim will 100% get United into the European spots, which is the first step towards the top 4 next year. Alex, thanks very much indeed for that. What else do we know this Monday morning? The Australian Open of Travis Head hit back after a brilliant 160 from Joe Root on the second day of the Ashes in Sydney, Australia. 2 wickets down, trailing England by 218. I think they're 166 for 2. Florian Wirtz has admitted he thought he was offside for the goal that was given against Fulham. Well, he was. We'll bring you more on that and why it was given with former Premier League referee Chris Foy at 9:15. Another draw for Spurs held by Sunderland at home. Thomas Frank, following the game, admitted he was frustrated with the result.
I think as I said many times, is that I love the fans, how they backed us and pushed us throughout the 90-plus minutes. And I'm sure that they acknowledge, especially the first half, and a lot of good bit of play, and acknowledge the hard work and effort the team put out there. They're just disappointed like we are that we didn't get 3 points.
Yeah, and my only query with that would be, and they were the better side, there's no question in the first half, on the front foot, but that does tend to be the way that Sunderland approach games, particularly away from home. They sit back, soak it up, they said, come break us down if you possibly can.
And there was brilliant second half, Sunderland. They really pushed Spurs, and they obviously got the equaliser, and they looked like could go on and win the game. But I can see what Thomas Frank's saying as well. First half, Tottenham should have been probably 2 up. They were a much better side in that first half, and that's what they've got to do. They've got to try and get that second goal, haven't they? If you go in the break 2-0 up, suddenly you've got a little bit of a cushion, more of a cushion. When it's 1, obviously, Sunderland always got that little bit of an edge, and they're going to come out, and if you can get the third, if you're Tottenham, in that opening first bit, you've won the game. Simple as that. But it's frustrating because Tottenham Stadium's an amazing stadium, but they just can't get it as a fortress at the moment. Teams enjoy going there and playing.
They're so short of players going forward, even more so now. I mean, Kudus, Brendan Johnson sold, Kudus out.
That's a big blow, that is,
Yeah.
One of the best players.
Yeah, and still no Solanke. All right, it is time now for this.
26k for 2026 on talkSPORT.
Ray, what you got?
I don't know.
The first bit of my
you're going to do that.
I'm going to do the first bit. I should know this off by heart by now because we've done it so many times. But anyway, talkSPORT's kicking off 2026 by giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000. Cue Ray.
OK, at 12 p.m. this Friday, we'll be calling one lucky winner with a guaranteed payment made that day. Yep, one of you could pocket, listen to this, 26 grand. It's 26k for 2026. Here's how to enter. Over to you, Jeff.
For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 423 9761. Lines close at 12 o'clock on Friday, and that's when you need to answer your phone if it rings. UK residents only, 18 plus. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com/win. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338, and the best of luck to you. Lots of reaction from West Ham fans. We asked for West Ham fans to send us their views on what's going on at the moment. Jack the Hammer says £150 million from the sale of Rice and Kudus. Have a look at that squad against Wolves. Negligible recruitment from Sullivan. Now we face the Championship with no home advantage in that stadium. Things could get a lot worse for us before they get better. Thank you, Jack. And Steve the Hammer, regular contributor. 56 strikers bought in 15 years, all sold at a loss. I said Wolves would beat us on the air and we'll lose against Forest. The only good thing to look forward to is Millwall twice next season. Steve the Hammer says, in Nuno we trust. to get us relegated. Cynic Steve. So look, people who could definitely do with some good news, all of those West Ham fans, because as we know, it's going horribly wrong in East London.
They'll be celebrating on the streets of Wolverhampton tonight. It's been a long time coming. They'll be crying into their pie and mash in the East End, you would suspect. Full time at Molineux, and boos for the West Ham United players who've gone over to applaud their supporters. Thomas Soucek is stood there with his hand on his hips, Kyle Walker-Peters as well, Somerville, Fernandes and Scars, and they are being booed by the West Ham supporters.
Just the atmosphere from the supporters before ball was kicked today. The result was basically we are going to get annihilated, we are going to get thrashed, and I think from like the first 15 minutes we was booing Kilman.
Never in my life have I ever been so disgraced and watched what I watched today. There's no fight, no passion, no nothing from us West Ham players.
Where do I start?
Irons.
Let's start with... No.
Just give us an iron, Steph.
Come on, Steph.
Just give us one iron.
Irons.
Lincoln City at home next year. It's exactly what Sullivan and Brady deserve. Sitting in their little padded heated seats, watching Lincoln City at home in front of 34,000 and 62,000 seat stadium. I can't wait for it. It's going to be quite funny to see, and they deserve every second of that game.
Well, there's no call to be dissing Lincoln City, is there? Who were massive winners again at the weekend, 5-2, and they are flying. But look, as far as West Ham are concerned, look, worst case scenario during January, Jarrod Bowen is West Ham through and through. We know that. Heart and soul, puts into it all of the time. Could he have one eye on the World Cup and think, if I'm in a side that's getting relegated, that's not going to do my World Cup prospects any good? Could he put himself before the club?
No chance. There'll be a proper meltdown if Jarrod Bowen gets sold in this January window. No chance. No, I think West Ham.
Wouldn't want to be announcing that would you?
That would be the last straw for West Ham fans if Jarrod Bowen was even thought about being sold. He's their only chance of probably staying up at the moment with the goals he can get. No one can score goals. They haven't got enough goal scorers at the club. So Jarrod, no chance whatsoever would he be allowed to go. I don't think Danny Dyer let him go either. He definitely wouldn't let him go. But that wouldn't even be thought about.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying because it's a massive year for a lot of players going to the World Cup, and they want to show a bit of form for Tuchel. And he's probably got a nucleus of players that he's going to pick. But there's still opportunities for other players to get in if they do really have a good end to the season. But that will be unthinkable for West Ham's fans. Not even thought about.
Just worry if they lose against Forest. I think their next game is away at Spurs. I mean, let's paint the scenario that you lose both of those two, and then Jarrod's got to be looking at the league table and thinking, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, but I don't think he could leave. As a player, if I was in Jarrod Bowen's, I wouldn't be able to leave, I'm afraid. I know you've got to look at the World Cup, you look at England, and do you know what? His performances are still very good, Jarrod. I know he's playing in a really poor side at the moment, but you can see his energy. He's trying his best. You can see what he's got, and Tuchel knows what he can bring to the team and the squad without him having a nightmare. And I'm sure he'd be ringing him up and saying, look, keep doing what you're doing. Try and do your best you can. But he's playing with players around him who are not good enough, probably. That's the problem he's got.
Ben has suggested Bowen to Liverpool.
Ooh. Well, I'm sure lots of clubs would be really interested in signing Bowen. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he'd be right up there with what would they sell him for? That'd be a big question. Semenyo is what? He's got obviously a clause in his contract. He's 65 million, isn't he? So he's got to be... It's got to be probably north of that, isn't it? A little bit more, or about a similar sort of price.
But when you look at they've not been reluctant to sell their star players in the past. Obviously, Declan Rice.
That would be the last now. That'd be the last
they've
now.
They've sold their stars in the past. I know.
No, that would be. I wouldn't want to stop. I wouldn't be going nowhere near the London Stadium if they sell Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah. Morning, Jeff and Party Parlour, says Simon from Warrington. I absolutely agree regarding Arnie Slot. It's only a matter of time before he's gone. Results-wise, there's been an uplift, but not performance-wise. At least 5 or 6 of the squad need moving on too.
Well, they're all ageing. I mean, look, we look at Salah's situation this year. Hasn't been great, has he?
Yeah.
I know he's got...
Jared Bowen will be a replacement for him.
Yeah, he's going to...
Sorry, Hammers fans.
It could have been Semenyo as well, but Man City looking like he could go there. But it's a situation now, these guys, they're in great positions, aren't they? The players, because they're wanted so badly. Teams need big players and players who can fit straight in, who know the Premier League, which they do. So the agents will be, they'll be saying, look, we could get the maximum out of this deal, and the players are going to be well looked after. But I'm sure lots of clubs will be in for Semenyo, because what he's done at Bournemouth has been brilliant. And obviously Bowen, if you mention Bowen, everybody will be interested in that. And I'm sure you've just thrown a grenade in there for the West Ham fans by saying sell Jared Bowen.
No, I didn't say that. It was a text. It was a text from Ben. Ben was the name.
That is a proper grenade. That is like Amorim there.
Just to balance it up, Akin says, I think from what we've seen of Jared Bowen, he's more likely to want to double down and think of showing his best form at West Ham rather than taking a risk in a move that holds no guarantee of showing him off in a better light to Thomas Tuchel. Very good point, Akin. Coming up, we'll get the perspective of a former United coach to find out if Ruben Amorim has given the board an excuse to sack him. That's next.
To succeed, people often say you need to think outside the box. In sports, every now and then someone does just that and comes up with a crazy idea for an exhibition event that nobody else could have dreamt up. Here are some of the most iconic we've ever seen. I mean, what an image. This was the setting for the Battle of the Surfaces in 2007 between Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. The courts in Nadal's home of Mallorca reportedly took 19 days to build and cost £1.2 million. The players had to change their shoes every time they changed ends, and despite some dodgy bits of grass, they slugged out an epic three-setter, won by Nadal. But that's not even the most famous exhibition in tennis, because in 1970, 1973, we got the Battle of the Sexes, watched by 50 million people in the US alone. Billie Jean King's victory over Bobby Riggs was not only a landmark event for entertainment value, but also for its impact on the fight for gender equality in sports. I mean, the Battle of the Surfaces never got turned into a movie. Now, imagine a motor race that involved American Indy cars and European F1 cars. Well, that happened twice, back in 1957 and 58. The race of the two worlds took place at Monza and was nicknamed Monzanapolis. Despite legends like Sterling Moss, Phil Hill and Mike Hawthorne racing the F1 cars, the Americans won both years. Fans and the teams loved it, but it didn't make enough money, so got canned. For its cast list alone, though, the greatest exhibition might have to go to the Princess Diana Memorial match at Lord's. Mike Atherton captained a Marylebone Cricket Club side, with Sachin Tendulkar leading a rest of the world 11. Names like Wasim Akram, Zurav Ganguly, Andy Flower, Anil Kumble and Glenn McGrath turned out. The one-dayer, won by the rest of the world by 6 wickets, raised more than £1 million for the Princess of Wales Memorial Fund. Incredible all round.
Hello, good morning. 7 minutes past 9, I beg your pardon. Monday, January the 5th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ray Parlour and Arnold Clark's real sale. Huge savings to be had on over 20,000 used cars. Big response to the suggestion that Jarrett Bowen might think about his future. Pete Harrison has said West Ham might sell Bowen now while they can still command top dollar before relegation, when he will leave for half the money. Ryan says Jared should leave this window. Liverpool will go all out for him. I'm sure his father-in-law will understand. As he
I don't think they're West Ham fans, though.
Son-in-law. No, they're not West Ham fans, but you know
they're going to say that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they want him. I'm sure lots of clubs want Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah, but the suggestion that they'd sell him now for top dollar rather than wait until relegation—that's quite an interesting one. Anyway. Let's concentrate on Manchester United now. And Ruben Amorim, his future said to be in doubt after he questioned his role and clashed with the club's hierarchy after their 1-1 draw with Leeds. A reminder, this is what he said.
I noticed that you receive selective information about everything. I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach of Manchester United. And that is clear. I know that my name is not Tuchel, is not Conte, is not Mourinho, but I'm the manager of Manchester United. If people cannot handle the Gary Nevilles and the criticisms of everything, we need to change the club. And it's going to be like this. I'm not going to quit. I will do my job. I just want to say that I'm going to be the manager of this team, not just the coach. And I was really clear on that. And that is going to finish in 18 months. And every department, the scouting department, the sport director needs to do their job. I will do mine for 18 months and then we move on.
Right, let's get the thoughts on all of this from the former Manchester United assistant coach, René Meulensteen. Morning, René.
Morning, René.
Good morning, guys.
René, if this is a power struggle between the manager and the hierarchy, there's only going to be one winner, isn't there?
Yeah, well, history tells that, Jeff. But It's obviously clearly sometimes managers do use the media to, to get their hidden sort of messages out, and it's all like a little bit speculative, so they let people read between the lines. But it was interesting. I mean, what I felt, what I see it in terms of the mood he delivered those messages, he came across a little bit agitated, not happy about certain things, whereas managers who are happy in their situations, they come always out speaking very, very calmly. They have a clear vision, a clear message, and they reassure everybody. And this was basically the total opposite.
René, I've got to ask you about the position they're in at the moment. How do you think? Do you think they've progressed, or progress has been at the club, or do you think they've stayed still? Or I made a couple of good signings. Cunha's come in, and Burmo's come in, and players who are good quality players. But how do you see it from looking outside? Because you was at the club for many, many years. You know exactly how it runs. How do you think the club are at the moment?
I think what you just said there, Ray, I think they haven't, let me put it this way, they haven't progressed the way that I think everybody expected they could. That if you look to the situation that they're in now, they're sixth in the league. They're only 3 points off fourth. But if you look at the last 11 games, I think after that Liverpool game where they had the spell, they had a run of 3 games where they won. And then I was one saying on this show, I said, if they're going to win the next 3 games, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham Hotspur, I can't remember the one after that exactly, then they've got a really good chance to come in that top 4 and start, sneaking up closer. So if you would say that all the games they've played where they dropped points, where they only drew or they lost, if you add all those points to it, United would be in second place at 46 points. Now, I couldn't see them winning all those games, but let's assume that they only won 10 points of those that they could have won. They would have sat firmly in fourth. And therefore, I do think they've lost by far too many, or drew by far too many games they shouldn't. And I think it's a constant debate again about whether the strategy and the tactics that Amorim employs is actually helping the team rather than holding them back.
Equally, though, René, if you look, we're in January, and obviously we're led to believe there are issues over their transfer policy, whether the club is unwilling to bring players in, or whether they're unwilling to bring the players that Ruben Amorim wants in. But you can understand from the manager's perspective, when he looks at the bench that they had at Leeds, that there has to be some recruitment, doesn't there? This is Manchester United, for goodness sake.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Jeff. Obviously, the AFCON with players going there doesn't help. Then you've got a few key players in De Ligt and obviously Maguire being injured still. But United need to have they do need to have a good bench. But if you listen to what he had to say, there were 3 clear messages, I think, in his way when he spoke. Was he kept saying that he wanted to be the manager, although everybody knows he got appointed as a head coach. So there's a little bit of a hidden thought behind that, because he wants to have a say, because that is what managers do. Managers manage the club, and recruitment is part of that. He hinted on the criticism, if you can't take criticism, and he managed Gary Neville, so there's some frustration there. And last but not least, that was the clear message, I'm not going to quit. So there, in those 3 messages, there are definitely like something that needs to be really discussed within house, or it's going to be on a collision course.
Just looking at it now, René, I mean, how do the board look at it now? I mean, do they bite the bullet and say, look, we need to get rid of him because it ain't going to work with a relationship between Jason Wilcox or whoever it's going to be, or they say, well, do we stick with him? Because look, they are still in a good position in the league. They've still got potentially a chance to get in that Champions League, which would be massive for the club going forward. So, if you're on the ball now, René, how are you thinking?
Well, I first of all, I would think, listen, you don't like players and managers alike to start the debate throughout the media. If you're not happy about something, come and knock on the boardroom door and let's get behind the 4 walls and be very, very clear about how you see the situation, what you like to change or improve, whatever you do, and let's work together. Jim Ratcliffe has been very clear. He wants to give him the 3 years to prove himself right. If you then start throwing things out in the media, then exactly it happens what we are doing now, Ray. We are discussing the speculation, going left, right, and forward. Everybody's got his opinion, and it just creates unrest.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want. It creates unrest. They are not in a bad position, as you said. They can still improve. But yeah, I would say, listen, where's this coming from? To be fairly honest, because Berrada and Wilcox and Jim Ratcliffe, they've been very quiet in the media. They haven't said too much. They have to wait and see. And in my opinion, I would say, listen, Ruben, let's go and sit behind those four walls and let's make sure that we devise a plan forward that we can all live with. If that doesn't happen, then this will carry on, and something has got to give.
René, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, René.
No problem at all. Thanks, Jeff.
He makes a good point there. Yeah. I think they've all got to sit down, as he rightly says there, and get on the same page. Yeah. They're not on the same page at the moment.
Needs Jim Ratcliffe to come out and say, reiterate, he will be there for 3 years.
Exactly.
You know, boss man speaks, end of story.
Yeah.
Up next, we'll find out why on earth Florian Wirtz's goal was given when everyone, even VAR, acknowledging it was offside. That's next. Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm just Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me, 20 minutes past 9 o'clock. Now, Liverpool saw a point snatched from their grasp right at the end by Harrison Reed's screamer. What a goal it was.
Oh, what a cracker.
But what's also got people talking is Florian Wirtz's goal. Close call for offside, which eventually went Liverpool's way, even though Wirtz quite clearly had a foot in an offside position. After the game, Arne Slot was asked whether they were fortunate to get the goal.
If there's one thing that I never debate, it's offside. Because that is just black or white, in my opinion. But I haven't seen it back, so maybe they draw the line wrong or the moment when they stopped it. But usually you can say, okay, it's yes or no offside. I have much more problems with if it's a penalty, yes or no. Did he hold him, yes or no? Because that is debatable. Usually offside is not debatable. It's offside or it's not offside. So yeah, I do debate referee decisions a lot, but offside, I usually accept what the decision is.
Joining us now is the former Premier League ref, Chris Foy. Morning, Chris.
Morning, Chris.
Morning, boys. You okay?
Yeah, good. I mean, I saw, by the way, when that goal was disallowed, Arne Slot was just showing, says, it's close, but he said offside. Now, he said there, offside decisions are black or white.
I'll take it.
But they aren't any longer, quite clearly, Chris. What the heck is going on?
Gee whiz, I've been sent more lines this morning than there is at Euston Station. I think we've had a look at the cuts of the grass. I think what people don't understand, Jeff, is there is a tolerance, a 5 centimetre tolerance, which in effect is the width of the green line, and it's not new. This has been in effect since season 2020, season 2021, and we're 200 Premier League games into this season now, and I can only remember one other one where we had a discussion on this, and it was the Newcastle-Manchester City game. So we have the tolerance, and we have the technology.
But Chris, isn't it right to say there is no tolerance level in Europe? There you are. It is black and white. You are offside or you're not offside. Why have we got a tolerance level in this country? If you looked at the penalty spot there, look at the player's feet in line with the penalty spot, he was clearly offside. It didn't need lines to be drawn. You could see quite clearly he was offside. Even the player said he was offside.
Yeah, well, Ray will tell you don't trust the players.
No, definitely not.
No, I mean, when you look at Europe, they work to a much finer tolerance. And of course, with VAR in their games, they have a chip in the ball as well. But this is the Premier League, as I said, that 5 centimetre tolerance. And as I said, it's not new. 2020, 2021 season, it's just not happened very often. And people are looking at it now and we're a little bit surprised. But we are where we are. And what I say is, trust the technology and trust the process.
Chris, I was just going to ask you, how do you feel with the quality of the refereeing at the moment around, if you looked at other countries and I always look at big tournaments, it always seems to run smoothly. No one's really talking about decisions. But how do you see it in the Premier League at the moment? We got good quality?
Yeah, we have. I mean, crikey, English football this time of the year, it's non-stop, isn't it? We go again tomorrow night, don't we? And we've got a full programme on Wednesday, and we've got all over the Christmas period. You look at the amount of games, and it's a time of year that I used to love refereeing. I think referees now are under more scrutiny than they've ever been. Everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got a smartphone, everybody's taking a picture. But if you look at recent tournaments, the FIFA Club World Cup, we had 2 refereeing teams there from England. We had 2 at the last World Cup, and hopefully we'll have 2 at the next World Cup. But the Premier League is a goldfish bowl, isn't it? It's global, it's massive. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody takes a photograph. Everybody's got an avenue on social media to talk about refereeing. I was at the Everton-Brentford game yesterday, and I was, you just look at it, and I look at some decisions the referee makes that are quite clearly right, and people are disputing them. So you think to yourself sometimes, it's not an easy job.
Yeah, and I get that. And Chris, I would just say to you, when you say trust the technology, decisions like the one at Craven Cottage will make people trust the technology even less than they do at the moment. Look, let's move on to another one, shall we? We mentioned this a little bit earlier on. This is Bournemouth against Arsenal. Chris Kavanagh blows the full-time whistle just as the ball is about to be launched into the Arsenal box. Now, it's just something you don't see happen.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I watched this game, and on 90 minutes, Bournemouth got a free kick. And the goalkeeper, Petrovic, seemed to take an eternity with this free kick. And I was thinking, you need to get it forward. But the board went up for 6 minutes, which it did. And when the ball's played into the area, it's cleared. And then the referee blows the final whistle. Well, it was in excess of 90 plus 6 minutes. And what people need to understand as well is that in the game, the clock is on the scoreboard and it's ticking, and everybody can see how the time is elapsing from that. I mean...
But generally speaking, in that situation, a referee would allow the ball to go back into the box before he blew the whistle, wouldn't he?
Well, the ball did come in the box, then it was cleared out the box. I mean, we can't play next goal winner. I think he played 20 seconds over anyway. And the referee acts as timekeeper. Yeah, I understand people's frustration, but let's be honest. If Bournemouth had scored and it was gone beyond 90 plus 6, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be you asking the questions now, yeah. Ray'd be out for me, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I see weekend, Chris. Look, when you see things like Hull against Watford called up 15 minutes before kickoff, and is that totally the referee's decision? Would it have to be in consultation with the teams, or can you be overruled by a sort of stadium supervisor?
It's a three-way thing, really, Jeff. I mean, you've obviously got the ground safety people. You have the police commander who are there as well, and the referee, and it's a three-way. Of looking at it. I mean, the top and bottom of it is even sometimes if the pitch is playable. What if it's not safe outside? What if it's not safe inside on the terraces where people are sitting, if it's frosty and people are slipping? It's a really difficult situation to get yourself involved. I used to hate doing pitch inspections because of the pressure. If a team's having a fantastic season, they want to play, and a team isn't, they don't. But you've got to judge it on what you see on the day. And the weather's obviously played its part over the last few days. And if any game's postponed, quite clearly people do get frustrated.
Mm-hmm. What's the latest you ever called a game off, Chris?
I actually called a game off, Jeff, and put it back on in an FA Cup replay at Southend against Chelsea. The fog came in and it was live on TV, and I called it off. And I was in the changing room chatting to the police commander, and my phone buzzed in my pocket. And I went outside in the grounds and said, when the tide turns, it takes the fog with it. So we played it.
Oh, wow. It was all right, Chris? Yeah. All good? Did you see the ball?
It was. I never got near the ball, mate. I was never near the ball.
Yeah. Love it. Chris, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, Chris.
No worries, guys. Have a great week.
Cheers, mate. Not everybody's convinced about that, the Liverpool goal being allowed. Sean says, never heard of the 5 centimetre rule. That's absolutely nonsense. I've seen players given offside for a toenail before. It's just a poor excuse. A toenail or an armpit, Sean, yeah?
Yeah, no, you do, yeah. If you're leaning that way, it's just slightly off, they usually give it, don't they? So, look, I mean, Chris is saying it's been there since, 2020? So the rule's been there, but I didn't know the rule was there, to be honest with you.
Trust the technology in the process. I mean, I do generally think things like this means that people are less...
But you'll take it. You'll take it if you're Liverpool. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, well, of course you will, but not if you're Fulham.
I know, you get a bit of an advantage there.
Yeah.
You take it.
Anyway, brilliant to hear from Chris Foy there, and telling us that has been around for a number of years now. 9:28 coming up, we'll ask 3-time BDO world champion Glenn Durant whether Luke Littler's dominance could actually turn out to become bad for darts. That's next.
every good signing a club makes, there's bound to be a few that don't work out. Manchester United have certainly had their fair share of those, especially since the end of their golden age under Sir Alex Ferguson. Here are some of the Red Devils' worst signings since Fergie. First up, Alexis Sanchez. He'd averaged almost a goal every 2 games for Arsenal, but in his 45 matches for United, he only bagged 5. Next up, Radamel Falcao, dubbed El Tigre, or the Tiger. But at Old Trafford, he was a little more pussycat, to be honest. All the Colombian managed in 29 games was 4 goals. Moving on, things couldn't have gone worse for Jadon Sancho at United, with just 12 goals in 83 games. And it all ended after that very public spat with then-manager Erik ten Hag. Next, Ten Hag probably thought he was wise in sticking to what he knew when he brought in Antony from former club Ajax. But the £86 million Brazilian has really not been able to hack it in the Prem. The curse of the famous number 7 shirt has also had its share of victims. As well as the aforementioned Sanchez, Memphis Depay found he couldn't follow in the footsteps of Ronaldo, Cantona, Beckham and Best. He netted just 7 in 53 appearances. And those are just a few examples. To be honest, the list could go on and on. Unfortunately, that's probably why Man United haven't won the title for over a decade, and why it might take a few more years before they're in contention again.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Save on your next car in the real sale. It's the UK's biggest used car sale. I'm just Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. Chris Foyer's got people debating. Craig, who's a Fulham fan from Durham, says, please can you ask Chris if he's now claiming there's a 5 centimetre tolerance on offside decisions, which we've never heard of before, why on the animated images was Wirtz further back than the real still images shown on Sky Sports? And he's absolutely right. On those animated images, he did look to be...
I think everybody thought he was offside.
Yeah. Well, Gary doesn't necessarily. He said, read the Fulham offside. Why is everyone assuming that the grass lines are perfectly cut at 90 degrees? The VAR tolerance is sensible with that in mind. Yeah, the thing is, Gary, you don't need to look at the lines. Look at the penalty spot. Just look at the feet positions in regards to the penalty spot, and that will tell you the answer. David Anisha says that 2020 to 21 season, which Chris referenced, was when Patrick Bamford had a goal disallowed for Leeds because his fingernail was offside, let alone his toenail. Anyway, fingernails must have been 5 centimetres long, didn't they? Now back to Chelsea. Liam Rossini has flown to London for further talks. He looks to finalise his move as the new head coach at Stamford Bridge. On Saturday's game day phone-in, Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara clashed over whether Rossini has the right credentials for the job.
I don't think anyone at Chelsea expected this to happen here, right now. Because you go back to the beginning of December...
Do you think Liam Rossini is good enough to take the Chelsea?
I don't know, Jay, any more than you do.
Yeah, but do you think he's good enough?
I don't know any more than you do.
Okay.
No, Jay, we don't know.
No,
you could. I know what you're saying, right?
I know you don't know, but you've been in football for 25, 30 years.
Yeah, longer than
that. Right, you know football. Right. You know how football's run. You know, you look at decisions that get made, like Ange going to Nottingham Forest, like Wilfred Nancy going to Celtic. You know, you look at this...
We're always after the event,
and you go, that ain't going to work. In your expert opinion, because that's what you are, you're an expert, Jace.
Yeah.
Do you think Liam Rossini is good enough to be the Chelsea manager?
It doesn't feel right, okay? I'll admit it doesn't feel right, and it does with Liam Rossini, right? I don't watch enough of French football, right? I remember everyone saying, myself included, Keith Andrews at Brentford, yeah? Is he good enough? First managerial job. Actually, he's done all right. And I think that there is a point of saying, right, I think you have to trust what they're doing. They're the ones in control.
They've got no trust. No one trusts the Chelsea board. No one.
So, Cundy saying... it doesn't necessarily feel right. Does it feel right to you, Rossini?
I wouldn't. He would have probably been on last on one of your last ones on your list. But he's in that company. He's in part of it. He's doing well, to be fair to him. And it's a strange one with Maresco leaving. Like we listened to Olivia earlier. She's a massive Chelsea fan. She knows more than us about the Chelsea fans, and she's more or less said 85% behind him. But again, if they make that decision, you can't do a lot about it if you're a Chelsea fan. All you can do is there's still so much to play for, isn't there? I mean, from Chelsea's point of view, you've got a semi-final coming up against Arsenal. Trust him, trust what they're doing, and support the manager. Simple as that. Whether it's going to work or not, Jeff, as Jason says there, which is totally right, Keith Andrews, everybody's saying, as you saw, Thomas Frank was doing a great job, and look, Keith Andrews in. Is he good enough to keep him up? Brentford, and everybody thought they might go down this year, Brentford. And now we look at it, 20 games in, they're sitting 7th in the league. Yeah. So it could be the same.
Chelsea's a little bit of a different beast to Brentford.
You're looking at the egos, you're looking at top-class players, you're looking at can you handle the egos during training sessions? If you leave someone out, he's got a totally different scenario now, Liam, and he's got to learn very quickly what he wants to do, what sort of players he wants in his team, and he'll be assessing the training. But then he's got to leave big players out. You can't play everyone. And that's where you've got to try and manage. And that's why man management skills are so important in management now. You've got to know how to deal with players when you leave them out, how you talk to them and all that sort of stuff. Make them feel... Wenger was very good at it when I was there. Make you feel still wanted at the club, that you're going to play a part going forward. And that's what Liam's got to learn there very quickly, because they've got superb players at Chelsea, but it's just getting the right balance in that team.
I mean, look, he did well as Wayne Rooney's assistant at Derby. He did well in his own right at Hull. He's done well at Strasbourg.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows?
Let's be open-minded and give him a chance.
Absolutely.
Now, Luke Littler's on his way to greatness. Well, I think he's already arrived, actually, after going back to the Ali Pali, and it was right here on talkSPORT.
So we are underway on talkSPORT. Jan van Veen has the darts, and there's your first maximum of the night at a very opportune time for the Nuke. Jan van Veen pins 4-4, and a scrappy end to the first set sees the Dutchman go one set up. Single 19 leagues tops. That's how you take your set out with your first turn plus checkout. And Luke Littler didn't take long to peg back Jan van Veen. Another 180 pinned. He's starting to go through the gears here, the Nuke. Gone further away with dart 2, but hits it with dart 3, and that is a 3-1 lead for Luke Littler. Ooh.
The Wasp's back, there it is.
The Wasp is back with a vengeance. Went straight for Luke Littler. We've not seen the Wasp for about a week.
Must be a Van Veen fan.
He's inside double 10. How about double 5? There you go, 4-1 to Luke Littler. He's not happy having to pin double 5 to get the set done. For a 5th straight set at 60, Littler delivers.
Littler poised on 54 after 9 to take the set and go 6-1 up. He's not missing anything.
He's hit the treble 19. He needs double 15. And we are witnessing sporting brilliance. Littler does go back to back. The 147 out to win it in style. His 4th maximum.
It was a blinding performance, performance. Right, let's get the thoughts of 3-time BDL world champion Glenn Durant. Morning, Glenn.
Morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ray.
Glenn, is he too good, Luke Littler, for the good of the sport? Is he so far out on his own?
Honestly, the game's really difficult, and he's making it look incredibly easy. It's just the most amazing story. I mean, I come from an era of Phil Taylor, who was the greatest for me of all time, and Michael van Gerwen did some crazy things for 4 to 5 years, and I just find myself as a commentator, Jeff, just going, wow, wow. I mean, that's how good he is. It's unbelievable.
I don't think nothing can go wrong with it, Glenn, can he? I mean, he's always said he doesn't practice all the time. Is he just one of them naturals who's just so good at it? But is it keeping your eye on the ball? I know he's only 18 years old, which is amazing to go to back to back. But how do you keep focused when the money's coming in and I can take it? You got to. Is it all about desire to be the best all time?
Ray, honestly, I do a lot of coaching now, and everything that he does, I would recommend you do the opposite. He doesn't practice. He's unbelievable. Like I say, I used to practice very diligently, hard working. I'd think about the game. I'd prepare for games. And let me tell you, the rumours about him sitting on his phone and only maybe having a few darts practice before he goes on, just before the tournament, I was in Finland with him. And he just sat there, thought, is he going to get his darts out? Left, I think he had 6 darts at the board, went on the stage in front of 10,000 people in Finland, hit 10 180s and 110 average. He's extraordinary.
And that final
it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
Oh, the final checkout, the 147, that was just typical Luke Littler, wasn't it? You'd have put your mortgage on him checking out on 147. But do you think it's a case of Luke Littler can be the best in the world for as long as he wants to be, Glenn?
I've said on record a few times, Jeffrey, I don't think he'd be here for 20 years. I just think he's going to earn an extraordinary amount of money, and where does the motivation come from? And there's other Luke Littlers coming through. Like I say, there's 12, 13, 14-year-olds who are unbelievable, even at the WDF World Championships this year at the Lakeside. Mitchell Lorry, a 15-year-old, is doing unbelievable things. So I don't think we'll be talking about the fact he's 17 times champion of the world. I really don't. I mean, even away from the game, he's got endorsements and sponsorships where, it's going to be hard for him. The circuit's hard. It's really hard, living in hotels and travelling around the world to do that. Just enjoy it while we can, because it is really incredible what he's doing.
Glenn, it's amazing to see how many nationalities now are playing darts, and look, a lot of it could be down to Luke Littler. I know the youngsters is certainly down to him, but I think the older pros are really enjoying it, aren't they? I mean, all their prize money's going up, everything's going up. Razmataz is going up with the darts, and you must say Barry Hearn's done a fantastic job with what he's doing to put darts on the map, really. Yeah,
the affiliated tours are unbelievable. The Asian tour, the African tour, Australia, New Zealand, the Scandinavian tour. We saw players like Andreas Harrison. We saw the walk-ons of Sakai. We had our first African winner in David Munya. Yeah. We had the first Indian winner in Nitin Kumar. And that's what the global sport needs. But the cream did rise to the top. And, for a player, you're getting £1 million, as a prize money. I mean, I played in every pub and workman's club in Middlesbrough in the 80s and 90s. And now they're picking up a cheque for £1 million. It's Barry Hearn is just a genius, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. Would you back against Luke Littler to win the next world title, Glenn?
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I think he could go if he wants it, Jeff. And that's probably what I would say to you. If he wants to win, and I have said this a couple of times as well. If he fancies a competition, I've seen him sit there with his coat on, where you're thinking he doesn't really want to be playing in Munich today. He just doesn't fancy it. If he wants to win it, he will, Jeff.
Brilliant. Look, he's fantastic entertainment. And I can't think of a sportsman who is further ahead in his sport, if you like, who's further out on his own than Luke Littler is at the moment. It's absolutely
Do you know what as well, Glenn? I just want to ask you just quickly. He's got to have a good mental strength, hasn't he, for a young man? I mean, because the crowd, the other day in the quarterfinals, they're booing him. And some people... You could really go under for that, can't they? And think, I'm not liked and this and whatever. But you have to have a really strong mental mind to say, look, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm still going to go and win it very, very comfortably.
I don't know what's more impressive, Ray, his mindset or the way you walked into the VIP at Ali Pally, ghosted past me without saying hello. The only thing that you missed there was a pass to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It really was very...
Sorry, Glenn. Next time, definitely.
Brilliant. Hey, Glenn.
Seriously, the mindset is just unbelievable. That's what geniuses are all about. They're hard to work out, and it's just absolutely insanely good.
And up the Middlesbrough, Glenn? They're doing well at the moment.
We're all right. 4-0 yesterday. We could do with Parlour, Viduka and Hasselbank as our front three would be fine.
Yeah, it was 4 goalless games, wasn't it, before that? But hey, second in the table, sitting pretty.
Doing well.
Fingers crossed. It'll be great to see 3 North East sides in the Premier League next season, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
Glenn, thanks, mate.
Cheers, Glenn.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll ask Ray whether Harrison Reed's goal is the best goal scored
this week
in the Premier League by a ginger. Even better than any of his or Paul's goals. That's next.
Oh.
morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. Jonesy's been in touch with me on X. He says, I was getting really frustrated with Arsenal's time wasting against Bournemouth, so on 90 minutes I started a stopwatch. The ball was in play for 3 minutes 29 seconds of the 6. I don't blame Arsenal for doing it, I blame the ref for falling for it. Chris Foy has just proved how refs defend each other.
You would do that though. If you're 3-2 up in a game, you know, you try and run the clock down as quick as much as you can.
And that's what Jonesy said.
And Bournemouth would have done exactly the same thing.
And Jonesy said
the other way
he said
around.
he does not blame Arsenal at all.
No, at all. But that's what you do. You're told to. For me, I would kick it in the corner like you do at rugby.
Yeah.
And rugby union, and then goes out for throw, and then you all push up. And you try and win the ball back quick and kick it out again. There's another 30.
In polite terms, it's called game management.
Yeah.
But in my day and age, it was time wasting.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Now it's time for a bit of this.
Oh, and Wimbledon have moved out. And there's no flag from the linesman. Ray Parlour, his first goal for Arsenal.
One touch, get out his feet, Bob. What, nectarine?
Never heard of it.
It's a small, like a little orange.
Is it?
Nectarine.
I don't eat oranges.
Mark Overmars had this little fart machine.
What?
With a button. He goes,
Pardon? Who is Gunnosaurus? Who is he to you?
What?
Is he related to you?
No. My brother is married to his daughter, but they're not together now. They've more or less split up.
Do they have an Invincible on Drive? I don't think so.
That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's time now for Yay or Nay, Ray.
Yes, it's time to put Ray to the test with the biggest questions of the day in Yay or Nay with Ray. Rules are simple. If you agree, you start your answer with yay. If you disagree, it's a nay. Okay. So, Ray, Arsenal ended the calendar year with a big win over Aston Villa. They've now got a 6-point lead over the Villa at the top of the league. Despite that, are Villa now the biggest threat to the Gunners' title challenge? Yay or nay?
I think they're going to be there and thereabouts, but I'm going to say nay. I still think Man City. Man City will be, if they can keep Haaland banging a goal. I know he's, as you said, he ain't scored for 3 games now, but he will get back to scoring goals. I think Man City, with what they've done and how they've won their trophies over the years, I think they'll still be the ones who Arsenal will be looking at for the most. But doesn't mean Aston Villa can go and keep winning games of football and being up there. But I will say nay and say Man City still dangers.
Now, I mean, I looked at City. Their bench was threadbare, you know, and now they've lost Guardiola, and we don't know for how long. I just wonder whether they're going to...
Diaz went off as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's done. So look,
and John Stones has been injured.
Yeah. Look, maybe Aston Villa are, but I just with the experience they've got in the Premier League, I'm just going to say Man City still.
Okay. Next up, Ruben Amorim's all over the back pages again, this time for essentially challenging the board and expressing his unhappiness at only being the coach and not the manager. And as always, the former Liverpool defender, Jamie Carragher, has caused a stir with having his say on it. He says, no matter what it is, I don't think he's in any position whatsoever to be questioning the people who appointed him. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to be Manchester United's manager. He's barely competent enough to be a Premier League manager right now. So, yay or nay, Ray? Is Jamie Carragher right that Amorim isn't good enough to be United manager? And in fact, is he right when he says he's barely competent enough to be a Premier League manager?
I think René talked a lot of sense earlier when we had him on. I don't think there's been the progress like he said there should be with the points. They've dropped so many points at home, and I think Crookie come out with when Everton went down to 10 men, he put a defender on instead of pushing someone up forward and trying to get that winning goal. So I'm going to say he would certainly be a manager in the Premier League at some sort of club, some sort of level. But at Manchester United, I'm going to say probably, he's probably not good enough.
Okay. Think he's going to get the chance to prove that he is or not?
I don't like people getting sacked, so I hope he does, and prove people wrong. But the problem is now there's a real friction. It sounds like there's a real friction between everybody. You've got to be going the right way. As a club and as a team, and that's what it is. A director, football manager, it's all a team trying to get the best out of the players. Now, there's a bit of friction now. It could be given, and maybe they'll make a big decision soon, Man United.
Okay. By the way, Steve, thank you very much indeed for that, because I didn't realise that. Villa Man City is the last game of the season.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Ooh,
final game of the season. So that will be fascinating. Could be fascinating. That is for sure.
They could be in finals in either. Well, Villa could have a big game in the final with a European trophy. Who knows?
Finally, Harrison Reed scored the goal of his life yesterday with a 97th minute stunner to rescue a point for Fulham against Liverpool. So, yay or nay, in a battle of the redheads, was his goal better than yours against Chelsea in the FA Cup final and Paul Scholes' volley against Villa? Was it the best goal in the Premier League by a redhead?
I think over amount of goals, you've got to be Paul Scholes. Mm-hmm. He scores some wonderful goals. So I've got to go Scholesy. As much as Harrison Reed's goal was absolutely stunning yesterday, I could probably argue with Harrison mine was more important in the FA Cup final, maybe.
Yeah.
But I would definitely go with Scholesy because some of the goals he scored over his years at Manchester United, I'm sure Man United fans will say, what a player. As I say, I didn't watch him every week, but what a player to play against as well. And the goals he scored, volleys, all sorts of different goals, and the ratio of goals he scored. I think that Harrison Reed's, that's his second goal in quite a long 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Something like that. So, look, if you score like that every 2 years, it's a nice one to score, but Scholesy done it on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I think most people agree with me there.
I tell you what, I bet every Fulham fan watching, I'm going to ask you, but when he got that ball, were you think you
cross
say,
it?
Go on, cross it. Just stick it in the mixer. What are you doing?
Yeah, but as soon as it left his foot, the balls do fly as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he called it perfectly. How it just come off his foot, and the way it just bent away from the goalkeeper, and another little bit more bend, it might have hit the post and come out, but it was absolutely to perfection.
Yeah,
you couldn't get no more in the corner.
I tell you what,
and to get that with what happened at the end of the game as well, to get a 2-2 draw, and I think they deserved it as well. So brilliant goal.
I love the fact that he said he'd been doing it in training all the time. But I can lip read, and I could lip read exactly what Tom Kearney was saying to him at full time, and he was not suggesting that he does that all the time. In fact,
every now and again,
an element of surprise, shall we say. Brilliant, Ray. Thanks for joining us today, mate. Been a lot of fun, mate.
Really enjoyed it.
Don't forget, I'm back again at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll be with the former Chelsea and Aston Villa star Andy Townsend for an in-depth look at Chelsea under Liam Rossini. We'll also be building up to talkSPORT's live coverage of West Ham against Forest. Up next, it's White, Jordan and Keown. Oh.